Hello, we are back. It's blue tinted glasses. It's time for the 2026-2027 season. It's the final pre-season friendly before the league starts proper very soon. Where's Locks? Locks is at the game. He's got a season ticket this year. Of all the seasons to huff the King Power Copium, no, joking. He decided this one. So it's Luke and I for this watch along. It's Leicester City versus Genoa. I'll bring up the team lineups in just a second. But Luke, talk to me. How are you doing? How are you feeling ahead now the World Cup is over? We're starting the season afresh. How are you feeling?
Dude, I'm excited, man. Good to see some football. Unfortunately, it's going to be nowhere near the same level as World Cup, but I'm still keen to see it nonetheless. Fresh fucking kit, by the way, looking good. Yeah, man, bring it on.
Cool. Well, let's just straight into it. I've got the lineup here. So actually, what's interesting is that there was another friendly that was played earlier today. So there were two friendlies in one day to get the players match fitness. But for this game, for this watch along against Genoa, here's what the lineup looks like. Are you seeing this? And what do you think about this? Interesting lineup. We are seeing Liam Cullen make his debut. Your favorite Woyo Koulibaly makes it into this team, but there's no Hamza, there's no Aluko, there's no Lewis Page. But a lot of these players, of course, played in the previous friendly today. Christian McFarlane played in that one as well. So talk to me, what are you feeling about this lineup and what do you think we'll see today?
So this is what's interesting. So I don't know how much of the last preseason game you watched or the one before, but Koulibaly was actually deployed on the left wing. So the fact that we've got the new and improved JJ, i.e. Joseph, playing, and he usually plays right back. You've got Nelson, who's pretty much now on left back, but you've still not Nelson, sorry, Thomas. You've basically got Thomas, right? But then you've got Koulibaly and you've got Cullen, who's meant to be what, our new right back, correct, or left back too. So you've got
No,
basically
false
essentially
nine, Luke. Liam
false.
Liam Cullen is the striker. It'll be very interesting one to see how he plays. Yeah.
Really? Okay, so I've heard he's
Yeah.
played both. So, but regardless, we've got three fullbacks on, even if it's not Cullen. So essentially, where Koulibaly is probably most likely going to be playing left wing again. But then where's Mavididi going to play? Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of perplexed of how we're going to shape up here.
Well, he could step in maybe to be the inverted player, but we'll keep an eye out that on the game. But that's fair enough. I do agree, though. I heard that. Well, I saw actually Koulibaly was really good. And I kind of dismissed it because I know you messaged me afterwards going he was elite. And what I said to you is more that like I think he'll be playing to get a move. So I'm a bit. Let me ask you a question. Of all of these players that we see here, some of them I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to be here, right? Because Liam Cullen, for example, we've just signed him, right? Probably Stolarczyk. Jaden Joseph is playing. It's interesting that Ben Nelson's been given the captain's armband. But what do you think about the rest of them? You know, I, for example, didn't think we'd see Mavididi here. I guess De Cordova Reed, he's going to have to stay because no one will pay the wages. How are you feeling about, the players that are going to be staying here?
I'm not that excited about Donkey over Reed. I don't care. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, it's League One. It's League One. It's a slow player. Doesn't look link anything up." He may look elite at League One. Maybe I eat my words. Who knows? But it doesn't exactly excite me that someone that I know that's not going to be here the following season anyway is taking someone else's position. The only hope I have is not being so negative that he maybe has a good impact on the young players. We'll have to wait and see. The players that I don't expect to be here is, like you mentioned, like a Coley. If no one comes in for him, no one comes in for him. Ben Nelson, someone that we all are screaming should be a nailed-on starting centre-back, but he's obviously already called for a move. He doesn't want to be in League One at this stage of his career. But then what's the point of playing him if he's not going to be here, So I'd love to know what conversations have been said behind closed doors, who's willing to still put an effort in and play for a move. And I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty interested to see what the lineup is now versus what happens post transfer window. I think, like a lot of sort of times that you see here, you don't know. It was a bit like last year, right? Like last year, Bilal El Khanous actually started a few of the first games, right? Harry Winks and Wout Faes were coming on, and they weren't sure they were going to be here till afterwards. So I think we're going to see a little bit of that element already. Because it's funny, like if you were to ask me what my prediction is for this season, which we'll get to a bit later, if I looked at this starting 11, I'd be like, wow, this starting 11 is way too good for League One, I would think. But I'm not sure this is going to be what we've got, post August. I think a lot of these players may well get moves. So we'll have to see what kind of happens there. Let me just give a quick shout out, and then I want to bring up some of the signings and ask you for your opinion there. So, yeah, on the bench there, you might see some names you haven't seen here before. So you've got Michael Toko, I'm reading here, second year scholar, has been with the team since the under 14s and recently been involved with the under 21s. And Rollo, I can't even say his spur name here. Shembel, is that Szembl? a first-year scholar as well, who joined us at under 15s level. So very nice for them to be put onto the bench there. Pretty interesting to sort of see there. Yeah, Ben. Okay, let's see what some of you guys have to say as well, because I think that Luke is lagging as per always letting me down. Frankie comes up here and says, Ben Nelson, I can see him staying and signing a new deal. That's why I think they've given him the captain's armband, Frankie. I don't know, though. Do you really want him? Like, he probably is too good for this level. But I think, well, he's back now. You know, you mentioned Ben Nelson. I got to be honest with you, Luke. I wouldn't really care if he left, to be honest with you. I think he was awful last year. I think I was expecting him to be way better than he was. And I think him and Jakub Stolarczyk was another one, was an epic disappointment. How about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Like a lot of this sounds bad because I'm coming in for him. He's looked okay in preseason. He's looked confident. He's been marshalling his back line, which is someone you want to see, an experienced centre back. But that raises a point. So how old's Ben Nelson now? He's what, 20? So
no, older than that, I think.
Older, so it's even worse. So like he should be hitting his fucking straps proper now. Yeah. So if he if he does stay and he doesn't set League One on fucking fire, then we need to have an honest conversation of ourselves that, like, is he really the centre back that you all touted as this future polarizing captain? Maybe. But from what I saw last season, he was horrible on the ball. He is not the fastest centre back. To me, he wasn't as good as people made out to be. But then again, everyone was awful last season. So fresh start. Let's hope we're wrong, Anil. But for me, I'm kind of there with you. I was not sold on him.
Yeah, to be fair, Danky Danks put this, and I do sort of buy this argument. Goes, personally, I think having a 4 centre-back turnover would be crazy at this stage. So I get that argument. He's saying, well, look, if we just got rid of all of our centre-backs now, let's say we lost Suter, Faze, Nelson, Okoli, and then you have to bring them all in and you have to build that partnership up from scratch, and the season has just started. What does that even be? So I do appreciate that. But at the same time, you know, you need to kind of get the money while you can get it. Yeah, the King power is fucking empty, says Buzz. Look, in my opinion, as it should be. I mean, I just want to say this, like, this season, sorry, guys, I'm going to come across as so negative, right? And to be honest with you, I don't care. I just feel that, like, the lack of accountability that this club shows is horrendous. I was going to bring it up, but for example, Lazio at the moment, they're having a massive fan boycott. And they normally sell, like, you know, 40,000 season tickets. They've only sold 231 so far. Now, admittedly, people support Lazio. There's a lot of fascists who support that club, right? So maybe I should, you know, I'm not saying Leicester should necessarily be like that. But, you know, I do think, you know, I want to give it some context. I will say this quickly. I do think that some of the action the club has done, like the James McCarron effect, has been fairly decent. But the one thing, and the reason why I'm so negative, is that one thing I want to see is communication from the club to the fans, right? And Rudkin should be gone. And neither of these things have happened. Like, if James McCarron comes on blue tinted glasses and lets Luke hurl some insults at him, then that would be, for me, the first step towards, you know, kind of fixing things. But, you know, we'll look at it in. Okay, here we go. It means Cullen ain't the striker. We still need a proper bagsman. Now, this is good. So let me bring this up. This is who Luke thought was a fullback, by the way. Classic. So this is a new signing that we've made 2 new signings, actually, just in the last sort of 48 hours. So Liam Cullen has joined from Swansea. He previously worked with Russell Martin. Now, it's interesting. He sort of does play as a striker, but very much in a sort of false 9 mold. Timu Mikel Oyarzabal, maybe from, you know, the World Cup, that sort of thing. So you can expect him to sort of start up front, but drift in and around. And, you know, it's interesting to see Swansea players, fans sort of say he works really hard, goes absent in a lot of games, but did come up with some big goals for them. So what would you, I mean, you think he's a fullback, but what do you make of this signing? Liam McCullen, I think he signed, they go till 2029. I think it's about £1.5 million, so not too bad. And we've actually spent money, which is, it's just crazy.
How much have we spent? So I know who he is now. I got him mixed up with someone else in my head. So he's like 6'3". Yeah, he's a pretty decent sized lad. Yeah, he's the Welsh lad.
I don't think he's that tall. I don't think he's even 6 foot. Like, look at him there. You can see him there in the frame, right? This is like I say, like, you know, this is sort of my fear. Like, I think he might technically be good and work hard, but the point about the bagsman, for me, I was going to say, Luke, that, like, the lack of physicality that we have in the team is, we still haven't solved it, if you ask me, right? So what's going to happen there?
The lack of physicality.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. I don't know how physical that, like, there's a comment here. So from shout out to FFS. I don't know what your name is, brother. Chef United fan here with Suits playing for your reserves. Have you heard about him leaving? Yes, I think he's basically going. I think he looks awful under the Russell Martin system. I don't think, and particularly for that reason, I don't know if Ben Nelson's going to be nailed on starting centre back, even if he wants to be here. I think actually that he's going to opt for a Coley for the majority of the season if he stays, to be honest with you. That's going to be our physicality and still a bit of pace to play a suicidal high line. Fucking, you smile, but I think that's the most likely outcome.
I'm laughing because I just think Caleb Okoli and being able to play with your feet are also maybe not two sentences I would use to give them. But I do agree about Harry Souttar. I do think he's a good player. But in one of the preseason friendlies I caught, he was trying to play the high line and he looked absolutely horrendous in that system. He's just too slow and he's not good enough on the ball. And I just think he'd get exposed. At the same time, if teams are going to be playing very physical against us, you know, I mean, he looked actually like our best defender last time around. I'll bring one other one up. Okay, let's do this comment. I'll bring that comment up again, Luke, and then I'll talk about Tommy Watson. So yeah, Liam Cullen has spent more time playing seemingly every position other than striker for his whole time at Swansea. The thing is, though, is I think that's kind of the point of like the false nine, right? Is that a false nine starts in that position, but they drift around and you've got people rotating around. So that's not necessarily the worst thing, but look, I'll be honest with you, I'm not too keen on either him or Connor Chaplin. Like, they probably are too good for League One, average at Championship. But I don't know. I don't think they're really what we needed. How about you? What do you make of them? And well, thank you for the Jules plays. Yeah. Go on.
I'm in the same camp as you because I'm like, at the same time, like it was alarming that like with this far in the transfer window, we are seeing some activity happen now, but as of a week ago, we'd seen like one loan essentially and a bunch of outgoings, and it's like, you know,
we've kicked off by the way, but we'll keep talking. Go on. Yeah.
Sorry, brother. What alarms me at first, I was like, you know, you mentioned we should be spending more money. I think it's alarming about the position of the club, and then you hear that we're coming out to sell. Brilliant playing out the back already. Imran is turning in his seat. Fucking hell, the King Power's empty, by the way. Real bad. But I'm in the same camp to finish the point that, like, I don't want to... Oh, this is electric, by the way.
That's Jaden Joseph. Wow. Is Koulibaly playing as an attacking midfielder?
He could be. I'm trying to figure out. This is what I've been wanting
Let's take a look at him. No, I don't think we're going to get that in a moment. Buzz, sorry, we haven't got the timer today. We're having some issues sorting it out. I'll try and fix it if I can, but it's a nil sacks basically. Just like Leicester going down to League One, we've had to cut the resources and budget. We'll fix it when we can.
We're on exactly on a minute right now. Yeah. So. We are live on Fox's Hub for anyone that's wondering. Please don't ask how watching the game 50,000 times. And if you put a Bangladeshi flag in, Locks ain't here, but I'll fucking ban you quick. So shape up and find out. I think that I don't want Anil to be signing a bunch of old ass pensioners, as we always have done in the past at League One. And like you mentioned already, we go up to the Championship and all of a sudden they're obsolete, and we've overspent to be able to convince him to come down to League One. And now we're stuck with these players that don't walk into your starting 11, and we're worried about getting, you know, being a Championship club or promoted to the Premier League again, which I don't think is going to happen. But do you know what I mean? I don't want to be. I'd rather just. I'm at peace with having loan signings with, you know, a couple of options to buy if they're decent, rather than go and signing a bunch of people. That's just my opinion.
Well, yeah, right now Willie Koulibaly is playing where Abdul Fattah would be normally. So there's your answer to where he's going to start off this season. So yeah, you've got the middle two is Skip's actually the metronome. Sammy Braybrook's just ahead of him. Bobby Reid also is an attacking midfield. You've got Woyu Koulibaly on one side. You've got Steffi Mavadidi on the other. And yeah, take a look at where Liam Cullum is. He's already drifted quite deep, you can see there at times. Look, there's no recognized striker right there, right? They're taking the times to rotate. So that's the kind of style. Yeah, to be fair, says Frankie, I think Albers would play their previous fit. Absolutely. And actually, maybe Albers even played the previous game. You know, we've actually, it's about a squad, right? When you've got a 46 game season coming up, you need to have a deep squad. And I think they're doing a reasonable job at trying to buff out the squad. Like I said, I'm not sure where it will be, though, come the end of the transfer window. I mean, about the opposition, I think Genoa, they in Serie A.
I'm going to look that up in a second. I have no idea, to be honest with you. I'm going to try and pretend I do.
Yeah, they're in Serie A. So, you know, that's literally 2 divisions above us right now. Yeah, we played Coventry earlier today. We lost 1-0 apparently, which is not too bad given they're Premier League and we're League One. we had, I think, Aluko, Page, Hamza Chowdhury were in that team. McFarlane made his debut apparently as well. Maybe they'll
Really?
post some highlights of that later. Yeah. So they're doing that trick. We used to do it we've done it quite a few times with Leicester. They're trying to give both as many players in the squad 90 minutes, right? So that's why they're dividing it up. And I would say that, that's a lot of players. Connor Chaplin was in that lineup too. Will Alves is not in this game. So, both those teams are fairly strong, if you ask me. So that is, I think, does bode well for the season ahead.
I think so. I think we're gonna play a lot of football this season, So
here we go, ball over the top. Koulibaly. Oh,
sacked.
Yeah, he probably should have done it. I think he was offside. Probably should have done it.
What do you I don't think anyone comes in for Mavadidi, to be honest with you. I think he's going to be playing here this season. I think he's going to be the star player, or one of, if he can get his confidence up. Sorry.
Yeah, I would be surprised if so. I think someone would have come in for him by now if they would have done. I'm not sure though. Like, I don't know. If I was in the Championship, I would have tested Leicester's resolve and put in a cheeky £2 million bid or something like that. Because it depends how much you pay for him. I think there's still, I don't know. I will say this, that we just know that his attitude he's for me, he's one of those players that no matter how good he is, I'd never want a player like that in my team. Just too much of a miserable bastard, Anyway, as of right now, considering we're a League One team, we're properly passing the ball around and, dominating possession against the Serie A team.
I'm okay with this, by the way.
Yeah. And look how far the keeper stepped up there.
I'm more curious about who this
nice ball from Macaulay to
starting 11 is going to be next week.
Well, I mean, in a good way, that shows you we've got a lot of depth there on where you basically got two players for almost every position. I think still for me, the biggest position is still striker. Like, we need to, in my opinion, like there's a lot of talk about Elijah Adebayo. Maybe we've put a bid for him and he's like, I don't think he's the greatest, but I still think that having a really big physical front man is something we should have in our. Oh, what a lovely spin that was from Sammy Braybrook. Class.
He's the one player in this team that I think is going to be 100% nailed on starting 11. He's been basically in every single preseason game I've seen, and he's been good. So
it's funny because a few seasons ago, him and Alves were really being talked up, and they obviously both got ACLs. You don't know what would have happened. But I mean, he does actually look like a real sort of class act.
Look at this is probably the most we've seen players interchange in and out of position, on and off the ball, probably since Enzo's been here. Particularly like Warrior right wing, cutting back into high eights, all over the place.
Well, it was funny though, isn't it, Luke? Because I think for you and I, we actually like the kind of intricacies of the game and actually trying to make something happen. And the World Cup final was a stinker, but other than that, for example, Spain, I know some people think that they're boring, but for example, I saw them play against Austria and I thought they were like, that was the game I thought they could win the World Cup because I felt like Austria are a decent team and Austria, literally, they never got a single sniff of the ball. And like Spain were just toying with them. And you're just like, if Spain had like an elite number 9, they'd have won the game 6-0, they were just absolutely killing them. Yeah, Adebayo is a free agent. That's why I'm wondering if he maybe, well, I'm pretty sure we have given a deal for him, right? Because I think on a 1 or 2 year deal, you might as well, right? Just give yourself depth. Alves, by the way, no, he's not involved at all with the squad tonight. So it looks like he's picked up a bit of an injury.
Fucking hell. That's one scary thing about him and Braybrook. Both had ACLs. I know it's been like well over a year, but like you hope that they can hold up. But that's why it's important for players like Carr and all these other people that like the depth that you say that we have, that they need to be showing up, because if someone like that gets injured and he's our new talisman, so to speak, we need other people to step up. I love Spain, by the way. I picked them from the very get-go to win I almost changed, thought maybe it was going to be France, but no, for me, Spain, the way that they were the best coach team in that entire competition.
It's because they came in with injured players. I think that's the only reason people did that. But there you go. Yeah, look, some good comments here. Next Saturday is a glorified friendly. So you think this game is a glorified friendly? I don't think this will be a starting 11. I agree. I mean, I don't think this will be the starting 11, but I think there will be obviously a lot of players in this. welcome Lyndon Dykes more like. I'll be honest, I think for League One, Lyndon Dykes is probably a good player. So, we need a striker.
First corner.
Yeah. That will be okay.
Handled.
Coventry and Forest get relegated next season. We get promoted. Then you'd have Leicester, Derby, Nottingham, and Coventry in the same league called the Police. I mean, that would be fun. That used to be the way in some of the Championship seasons. Proper Midlands feel to it. You'd even have Wolves in there, although they're probably going to get promoted. Oh man, I cannot believe we're going into a season in League One. I just cannot believe it. How can you mess up that badly? It's insane. With the riches that the Premier League gives you these days, it's what a flop. Anyone know this? Can we go through the lineup? I'll quickly go through the lineup for you. Sure, I'll bring it up on screen. Actually, here you go. Got Stolarczyk, Jadon Joseph, Caleb Bacoli, Ben Nelson, Luke Thomas at left back. Woyu Koulibaly's playing on right wing today. Sammy Braybrook and Ollie Skip in midfield. Liam Cullen, new signing as the striker. Steffi Mabadidi on the left. And Bobby de Cordova-Reid in midfield. That is the lineup today.
So, well, it was almost a back three. It's not.
Well, it changes shape, right? It changes shape when we're in possession. It's pretty similar to the way Enzo would play, to be honest with you. You can see there. Yeah, Braybrook's going to be the standout player for this season. I think looking at it so far, he looks good there. And Derby about to be taken over with blood and oil money. I mean, that's scary because now you've got all these clubs have got a lot more financial power than us. I think something that worries me is that, look at the amount of money that we've spent so far this season. Not a lot.
So
Cullen he's playing false nine, right? So this is why I can see the Swansea fans would say that as well, is that he drops in so deep. So look, like you see right now, a lot of the times the way that we play, Luke, there's no striker. Like that
that's
would
what
say
I was just about to say.
Yeah, I would say that's a bit of a difference even under Enzo, because under Enzo you would still have Vardy or Daka or Iheanacho, but they would still, even though they played false nine, a lot of the time they would still be the furthest man forwards. But sometimes the way that we're playing here, there's literally no striker. So, to try and make that space in behind, right, to really get the other team to push up. Coley with a driving run and fouled.
It looks like at times you've got
yeah, exactly. When Kane's dropping into defense, 100%. That's exactly what it's like. Yeah.
That's a whole nother rant I'll save for later. But it looks like Braybrook and Cullen are like almost like high eights or 210s. You've got Bobby Donkey over Reed on top of them, in front of them. So, but they're alternating.
Yes, rotation. So exactly what Mateus saying here. That's what I'm saying is happening, right? Is like,
good save. Good save.
Braybrook probably should have scored there. Yeah, so the idea is, he is playing in line with that. And so they're taking it in turns as to who's going to be the furthest man forward, right? Sometimes it's going to be Cullen, sometimes it's going to be Bobby de Cordova-Reid, and sometimes you've even got Sammy Braybrook, who is, playing a kind of box-to-box role, which is kind of unusual that he's been asked to do that. It looks good in it so far. So Luke Thomas there with a cross. It went to Braybrook and probably should have scored. Headed it right at the keeper. That was a good move, though, to be honest. I think you do make chances with the Russell Martin system.
Definitely make chances. It'd be interesting to see how much we create against League One opposition as well. Genoa and both. Who was it that we played last week? I've already forgotten their name. The other
Malaga.
La Liga team. Malaga, thank you. Is it Malaga? Yeah, so decent opposition that we're going to have. I know it's pre-season. We don't know how strong they're really going, but you would argue that it's pretty safe to say that it's stronger than a lot of the opposition.
Yeah. Even if they're not as strong, they're way stronger than a League One team. That's just a fact.
Surely.
Yeah. Do you know what? Actually, to be fair, if you look at it, actually, Bobby de Cordova-Reid at the moment, he's the one playing as the false nine, and Liam Cullen is playing as the high eight. We'll keep an eye if that changes, but at the moment, de Cordova-Reid is normally the furthest forward. Yeah.
Who's you calling Ryan? That's like bannable right there, dude. I'm feeling like fucking kind of like a little bit upset right now. Are you calling me or Neil Ryan? I think he's calling me. You're a thin ice, buddy. I am not left-sided Ryan. That was nearly
nice. You can already see some of the patterns of play. They're quite nice, I would say. Like Braybrook and Koulibaly there tried a quick 1-2 to release Sammy Braybrook into sort of free channels. Yeah, Alves and Braybrook. I mean, yeah, the way that the team played last year, you'd have thought almost anyone would get into the team. I do think the issue is, though, is that like it's hard if you're a youngster to come into the team and be like the person who's going to be leading by example. Like a lot of the times it was Jordan James who's gone to Fulham now. We should talk about that. But even with him, you could see that because he was a youngster, it's hard for someone to like completely like, be the captain of a team at such a young age when the team is struggling so badly. What would you make of that? He's gone to Fulham.
Who's this?
Jordan James.
Has he? I didn't see that yet. So Premier League. So for me, he's gone now. Was it? No, I'm thinking of someone else. Never mind. I nearly just talked complete bollocks. You know what? Fair play to JJ. I hope he has a great career. He deserves it. I didn't want him to stay here. He would have been rotting in League One. I think he's even too good for the Championship. I think that's the perfect
I
for him,
also
to be
agree.
honest. Someone like that at Crystal Palace, it would have been a great move for him, or even Newcastle, but I doubt they would go. But look, I hope he deserves it. His talent speak for itself this season. I think he could have a real breakout season.
Well, Fulham have got Alvaro Arbeloa, the ex-Real Madrid manager, is taking them over. And so I've just seen it. Hasn't been confirmed, though, although it does seem like he is going to go there. You never know. Maybe he won't. So we'll have to see there. So I won't kind of turn that right away. Another corner for Leicester. You know what? So far, I've got to say, we've been by far the better team. I don't really remember them having too many chances. I think we could have easily been 1 or even 2-0 up by it now.
I think I'm
Arbeloa is just he's just signed the Real Madrid Castilla team, and he's trying to hope that he can turn him into a good team. I kind of see it, to be honest with you. A team like Real Madrid's going to have an amazing academy, and if he's known them since a youngster, and as since they're youngsters and get them playing together, it's quite clever. I don't know. Do you know who Nico Paz is, Luke?
Negative.
Okay, so he's like this Argentinian sort of attacking midfielder, plays for Como. He's like basically the best player in Serie A. But the interesting thing is he's another Real Madrid youth candidate. So he couldn't get any playing time at Real Madrid, went on loan to Como, absolutely smashed it. And then they've got like a buyback option on him as well. So, they're having their cake and eat it. But I think it says a lot that the best player in Serie A is an unwanted player from like a top academy in Real Madrid. It's crazy.
So essentially he's the Spanish Cole Palmer.
Kind of. I think that's actually even the way he plays. Even Robert, I agree with you. We are looking good. Patterns of play. I mean, I've got to say, maybe I know a lot of people don't like Russell Martin, but he does know how to coach a team. It's pretty clear. You can see it. I think I've always said, Luke, that my concern with Russell Martin would not be this season or maybe even in the Championship, but it's more that like the way that the Premier League's gone. Oh, is he onside? He is. No, I think he's been blown offside. Yeah,
I think so. I'm nowhere near as harsh as Russell Martin as everyone else. Like, I think we just have to face it that we've got too many players that align more to someone like that's his style of play than, let's say, someone like Wilder or something like that. And I know a lot of people would have loved to. There was people that was it not Potter? Who was the player? Who was it that's at Everton right now that we completely fucking turn our noses up at?
Moyes.
Do you think Moyes could fucking set up this team last season? I don't think so. I think we need someone like Martin, to be honest with you. I hate to admit it. And I'm okay with it. I think he deserves more respect. He got Southampton up. His time at Rangers was, I think, is redundant. Like, they didn't give him enough time. There was someone that didn't, like, I can't remember who it was, but there was someone that he he basically dropped from the squad that they claimed was their best player. And I think it was because he didn't even like the way he set him up, or he obviously had a bad attitude like Wink. So he's frozen this fucking guy out. He's a cancer to his side. He needs morale. He needs people to be on the side of his philosophy. And he was given 14 games and he had a bunch of draws, so they sacked him.
Yeah.
And they're expected to win every single game except against Celtic. Are they not?
Yeah, exactly. I think they're expected to be even Celtic. You have to go. Fulham, they've still got Castagna playing there, that's for sure. The high line there, but we dealt with it okay there. That was good play from Ben Nelson. Go on, Luke. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're right. I forgot to mention to you earlier, someone put a comment earlier up in the stream saying, I think Braybrook and Alves would have been handy last season. Do you know what's sad? And I'm glad they didn't play, because I feel like we spent all of this is in a nutshell the summary of last season. arguing over who should be coming into 11 to fix things, and every single fucking person just about got their chance, and all of them shut the bed. So I'm kind of glad they didn't fucking play.
Yeah, because they might also have been mentally damaged, right? It was a very
Exactly
bad
right.
season. Whereas this season, you might see that because they've got no fear, they can play well. But we'll have to see if they're able to. I mean, like I say, this season we all take it for granted that we're going to go up. Oh, what a lovely through ball! Liam Cullum's in. Oh no, it doesn't score.
100 to Ethan's mum. I hope you are well. I can see your countryman Bowser is on the bench today. Hopefully we can see him come on in the second half.
With open talks of Ballard, that I don't believe that, but that is, in my opinion, the guy that we should be going for 100%, because I think that's a player that will definitely be too good for this league. I think he'd be very good in the Championship, and I think there's even an outside chance that he could become a Premier League player, although probably for a sort of like, good effort. We were playing really well here, I would say. Got to say there.
Is this Joseph? I rate this kid, Anil. I rate this kid.
Yeah, a lot of people have said it'd be interesting to see who ends up playing as the first choice right back. But I guess the competition between him and Aluka will be pretty impressive.
Fucking hell, this camera work is honking.
Oh, yeah, lovely. I don't know what they're doing as well. They keep trying to sort of do some sort of like, alternate cam footage as well. I'm not a fan of it. Interesting. Same source that told them about Chaplin. Well, let's wait and see. But yeah, Don Ballard scored over 20 goals for Leyton Orient last year, that's for sure. Yeah, bring back Matty Fright for this season. Last time we went down to League One, Matty Fright scored 30 goals. That's exactly the sort of thing that we could do with this season. That was a bit worrying there, that Liam Cullen, he played really well in terms of the link-up play, but he got in one-on-one there, and that was pretty poor finish. Chaplin played in the previous game.
It's the small things, bro.
Does Ollie Skip start for you guys if he stays? You want to answer that one?
What's he done? I don't know. He's not been honking, but it's the same fucking thing, man. He's still a passenger, and I know it's pre-season, but like, look, or judge him after. I think the happy medium to judge who your settled kind of setting 11 is and how we're going to play is about 11 to 12 games into the season. I think it's better than to have that point. But for me right now, from what I've seen, like if he wasn't in the starting 11, I wouldn't lose sleep over it, to be honest with you. What about you?
Yeah. No, same. I agree. I would try and move him on, but I mean, the likelihood is that we probably can't. I'm guessing that's because of the wages that he wanted.
I still don't understand the signing, why we made him at that point of time when we signed him. We had so many people and options in that position already. It just, and the amount of money we spent, he was our marquee signing, and we're stuck with him in League One.
That was absolutely insane. We signed a marquee signing for a position we didn't even need. That absolutely insane, really. But there you go. Going from Enzo to Steve Cooper was also insane as well. It just shows you the lack of being able to sort of play there. Yeah, his head seems to have dropped pre-season. His work rate was his only thing. I mean, he doesn't want to be a League One footballer, does he? He's a player that I don't think many fans want at the club either. Another one we didn't talk about, but we have also signed the winger today. I don't know if you saw this. We've signed, I'll bring him up. Here he is, Tommy Watson, joined us on loan for the season from Brighton. He actually was the guy that scored the winning goal for Sunderland when they got to the Premier League. He was on loan there. So it's interesting.
This is the guy I got my wires crossed with. Sorry,
yeah. What? Ooh, the high line almost went. This is something you got to keep an eye out, right? In the game, is that the high line, we will concede a lot of comical goals this season. No, I was going to say, it's an interesting one with Tommy Watson, because I would say he's probably going to be way too good for League One. The fact that he was playing in a Championship and a team that got promoted from the Championship, and he's come down a further level, probably means he's going to blitz it. So he's going to be, I'm guessing, the Abdul, we got him or Alves to play on that right-hand side. They'll probably cook the league.
He's 6'3", Tommy Watson, yeah? This is the person that in my head I thought was, this is how sacked I am. Fucking, I'll be honest. Like, I put them mixed up. To answer your question, brother, it depends on where you're watching it from. Let me know in the chat where you are watching it from, and if it's not, yeah, I'll give you a straight answer. But my answer to you is for now, get a VPN and set it to, I think, either Vietnam or Austria, allegedly, and that should sort it out. But I am watching it from Australia, and Anil's in my spare bedroom. Don't ask too many questions.
Yeah, Luke's a real pal for letting me stay in his place in Oz. The Watson, he's a good signing, but a lot of our fans are going to get Paris syndrome from him. The hype for him is far too much when he's not really done anything in his career. I think that's a fair statement. But I would say, again, like I say, just look at it on paper, that someone who's played at a good level in a championship is likely to be too good for League One. My worry is, I mean, that's like with a lot of our signings. Like Connor Chaplin, I'm guessing will be too good for League One, but I think we'll be past it in the championship. Liam Cullen was average in the championship, will probably be really good in League One. But you're going to have to make a few of those signings if you're a club in our position. You just don't want to make too many, so you get stuck with them when you are in the championship. Because I do have to say, my worry is that, like, the parachute payments run out at the end of the season. So how are you then going to be able to get your way out of the Premier League? So out of the championship. So let's imagine that we get to the championship next season. How on earth are you going to compete with the 3 Premier League teams who've been relegated, who are going to have incredible squads? It could be Ipswich who will have Abdul Fatawi that we sold to him, So I think you've got to get your, and the answer is, what you've got to do is you've got to try and sign the young, promising players and sell them on and make money that way. That's why, like, for example, the Don Ballard signing, in my opinion, is like a way smarter one, because he's sort of player that could increase in value massively. Anyway, that's the problem to for future us to discuss. That's even assuming we get out of League One. And I think a lot of our fans think we've hit rock bottom, but who's to say that we have?
The only hope, the best case scenario, is if we have a blinder of a HMS Pista League season. There's a couple of things that could go wrong, but if things to all go perfectly, which they never do, is that like a bunch of the youth and all of our players, they really, really take the step up. They increase in value. The ones that we want to hang on to and build a team around stay, and the other ones get sold for pure profit. And then from there, you're hoping that those players that stepped up to the next level continue to do so, and you build a team around them. I don't think we get promoted back to back, to be honest with you. For me, success would be maybe scrape into the playoffs or something like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to be realistic. I don't. Do you know what also concerns me, Anil? And I'm saying this in pre-season, and we've got so many games to play, and this is a huge hypothetical, but it's I think a fair one. If we do piss the league, are you scared that someone comes in and takes Russell Martin, and then we're back to the same predicament that we were since Enzo left? Because we really need continuity, and we need, like, for players to feel like they're in a part of a project. If you're going to want them to stay, that scares me, because you've seen what happened with Company. As soon as he gets a decent team and the players underneath him, he can fucking really step up. So can you see Russell Martin getting a move again to a Premier League side, or do you think those days are done, particularly after his time at Rangers?
He could do, but I mean, taking a lot of assumptions there. You're assuming we're going to piss the league, so let's not say that right now, because I'm not convinced that we will. It's possible, but right now I'm not even sure. We're going to definitely get autos. I think it really just depends on what the squad looks like post the transfer window. That's all I have to do there. Yeah, I don't think anyone comes in for Martin unless we win every game. Well, yeah, what is this camera work? This is horrendous. Why are they doing that? Yeah.
So we've got a bloke in the... Go on.
No, it's okay to use those sort of camera angles when you're doing the replay, but not during the game. Have a word. It's like some yank doing the... Sorry, no offense to our American fans, but...
Wow, Anil out racist. This is making me... You know what it is? It's making me fucking car sick, man. Like motion sickness, the way it's moving. I feel like I've had a few drinks. I've just woke up and had a coffee. And then they've got a bloke in the chat that's struggling to get... and Will, I think, mentioned something earlier. Buzz, help him out if you can. But like, if you're in the UK and you're in League One and you need all the money you can get, and you're taking a fucking... What is it? £7 per game?
Go on. Koulibaly.
Oh!
Bobby Reed has actually stopped. He's actually done the defensive clearance for Genoa to stop a goal going in. That probably sums up the man, if you ask me. We should have scored there. Do you know what, though? That was a lovely move. The way that they played in Jadon Joseph on the right-hand side, Sammy Braybrook with the attacking run, Koulibaly, that was going in. And Bobby De Cordova, that just sums up the man, doesn't he? Bobby Donkey over Reed.
JJ, brilliant ball, brilliant positioning. I'm really, really optimistic on this kid.
Sorry, that was for Bobby Reed, not for you.
That's okay.
Yeah, where's the bozo buzzer? I had it ready. I couldn't find the donkey effect. We'll get that out again.
If you're going to charge £7 for whatever the fuck that is for a pre-season game because you need to raise revenue because of your fuck ups, let's not forget that. Okay, we know why they need to do it, but let's not forget the why for the why. Sort your shit out. Don't fucking take a wage from money from people if it's not going to work and you have to get a VPN to even do it in the first place. Like the media team and everything at Leicester City is honking. Like really fucking bad.
Luke, everything about the club is honking, let's be honest. I cannot stand this administration. I physically cannot stand it. You see it, my name is on the stream is King Power 8 out. I hate him. Oh, Cullen. Oh. I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what, the administration off the pitch you can hate, but I will say in this game, we are playing really, really well. By far the better team. And honestly, this should be 3-0. That would not be an unfair scoreline. Actually, yeah, I agree with you, Buzz. We look so much better in a system like this than whatever Marty, Cooper, Rude, and Rout tried to play. I'm really optimistic for the season, especially if we get Ballard. Wow, it's a proper King Power FC hopium sniffer there, Buzz. No, I'm joking. Yeah. But we do look good. And to be fair, from a director of football point of view, you can actually understand why you would get Russell Martin. You just think our team is built to play this sort of football, and you can see it already. We are. Like, all the players look comfortable. They all know what they're doing. We're making loads of chances. Even people who are quote unquote playing out of position, like Koulibaly, he's looked really good. He should have scored. Unlucky not to score because Bobby Reed deflected it, and he's playing in an alien position. Yeah, with the VPN, I think if you're outside the UK, it works fine. It's just if you're inside, they've probably got some things going into like online protection. Yeah, when's the last time we had next year 1.9 after 90 minutes last season? Not too many games. Even some of the games like the Ipswich one where we won by 3 goals, I think our XG was only like half or something like that because they were all outrageous strikes.
Nice little tactical foul from Cullen. Love to see it.
Yeah, as Frankie says, to be fair, from the youth team setup, they play a possession-based style, so keeping it for the first team is a logical thing to do, 100%.
Fucking scary header from Skip.
I mean, done well.
It worked out, I know.
Sorry, I need some light here. Yeah, I think by far the most interesting thing, though, apologies to you, Matty, you're right, is the positioning of Liam Cullen. He's definitely not playing as a striker. He's playing as a high 8. Some serious optimism. Martin will take us to Europe. Bookmark me.
The Australians are in bad form today.
To be fair, he already has. Took us to Malaga, did he not? So there you go.
Drip checks on point for our man as well.
Have you lot heard about the Justin Devaney rumours? No. Bring that up. He's Crystal Palace midfielder, is he not? Yeah, or a wing back. I mean, he's supposed to be super highly rated. I doubt he'd come to League One, surely. They want 10 million for him. We ain't paying that. Yeah, he seems to be more of a championship. Oh, you never know, though. You never know. If we could somehow get him in, we're willing to pay expensive loan fees. Yeah, Mattia. He describes himself as a session striker, so it makes sense to play him here, but it's still not fixed a striker issue, 100%. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah, Devaney meant to be going Borough. Well, I thought Borough is spending a lot of money. I mean, I'm not surprised they got such a massive windfall from the Morgan Rogers thing, but that's a scary thing, Luke, because even if you get to championship, so look at that, Middlesbrough amongst the biggest spenders, they're not even a parachute team, and they're spending like 40 million on Will Lancashire and stuff like this. Like the lack of resources we have at the club, I think is scary.
I think you should be able to spend whatever the fuck you want across the board. You're gonna see like better quality football if people are willing to spend that money in the championship. Just imagine like everything's just going to keep going up and up.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, what's the point of having it right now where some teams can spend what they want and others can't? I mean, I know you can get owners that put the clubs into financial difficulty, but I feel like that happens regardless, even with the new rules. So you might as well let it be fair and competitive rather than just have the same old sort of monopoly on the league.
Yeah, and for all the complaints about, I know you're not big about like gambling, but let's be honest, fucking just signing players is gambling and alone as it is. You're gonna spend money and hope that they show up. Yeah. You gotta hope they don't get injured. Everything's a fucking gamble.
Man, I gotta say, you're right. Jaden Joseph's been really impressive.
Really good.
Yeah,
really good, impressive. Man.
I would actually say, to be fair, I think Liam Cullen has, perhaps unsurprisingly, slotted in seamlessly, really. He's getting involved with all the action. Yeah, I think he could have a better final end product, but you can see what he's going to bring to the team. Yeah, Frankie, I totally agree. I mean, we know this stuff's been going on for years already. Top six can just do what they want and get away with it. Look at Chelsea. It's ridiculous amount of money that Chelsea have spent in both eras. The fact that they've been able to do it in two separate eras is totally, unfair if you ask me.
Sold himself a hotel. Man City still in here, nothing. So I've just fucking just scrap it for fuck's sake.
Any news on the sale of the team this week? No. And I doubt you'll hear much for a long time. I think that being sort of outed in the media just means they want to get more bids, see what they can get. I think there's still a very real possibility. In my opinion, what will happen is that anyone that does want to bid for the club, they won't be offering anything like what is King Power would want to sell it. So I don't think it will happen this season. And then maybe next season, if we're the championship, if we get to the championship, maybe it could happen then. We'll have to see. But I don't know about you, but I didn't expect the club to get sold this season. If at the earliest, maybe towards the end of the season, it could get sold. I don't think it'll be done before that.
I think it's also pretty telling about the whole time about what you and I have been saying about Top is they're not looking for someone to buy a stake in the club or anything like that. They're looking to out and out move on. So you're hearing of financial worries for King Power and the drastic reduction in income from duty-free stuff, and also the abysmal running of the club. What does that say as well about this McLaren bloke as well? Like, imagine being brought in to be the new technical director of football. I would imagine there would be, in terms of negotiations, it's like, this guy has to stay as like kind of a custodian of the club or whatever. I don't know. What was the point of bringing a new director of football if next season you're going to turn around and be like, okay, we're selling the club? What's the fucking... Is it goodwill?
Yeah, but to be fair, whoever comes in, they might, keep him there.
Braybrooke's done well there.
He did. You're welcome to change it, but you'll have to see. I mean, he's still going to get paid a good salary or everything like that. I know that Leicester pay a lot in terms of their wages for the executive positions.
Rodgers.
Woyo Ormiston again. Go on.
Way overpaid for Brendan Rodgers as well to keep him here too.
Yeah, that's another mistake. Just give me a second. I'm just going to get a drink. Go back a sec.
Easy. All right. That's a good point, actually. I was going to bring that up earlier, Gorminator. I think it's 100% that would be talked about. That if that does happen, yeah, 100%. If you can, bring your fucking man down. I think we are going to see it often, like we just did earlier. Robert, he's alternating between, striker or almost like a high 8, but mostly as the striker, yes, depending where he is on and off the ball. That's the city of the corner. Luke Thomas.
I tell you what, I don't want to see another season of Luke Thomas playing for Leicester.
I was just thinking about him, actually. I don't either. Who would you rather not see, him or Hamza?
No, Hamza.
Yeah, all day. It's been here way too long.
Yeah,
The forever utility player, and no matter what level we're at, and we're at League One now.
Exactly. In fact, I think you'll see it this season that even at this level, he will look technically incompetent. I wouldn't be surprised actually if Luke Thomas looks pretty good in this league, but Josh is listening in whilst at the game. Pretty dead atmosphere, but the Genoa fans turned up. Tell us more, actually. I mean, what's the general feeling amongst the fans that are there for this season? You happy? You excited? You're just there because you're an addict and you have to get in your football, which I totally understand, by the way.
Brilliant first touch from Cullen to receive the ball, puts himself back in a decent position. Shame we've lost the ball there. He did well there, Cullen. Took his ball.
Yeah, I'd say if you look at his overall effectiveness, he's been pretty, I would say, impressive.
Steve McLaren is at Rotherham now as director of football.
Wow, really? That's interesting.
I see that but they've both been playing in the same position. That's a bit of a conundrum for me. I still think with all the rumours of our centre-backs leaving, probably the worst, I still favour Aluko to play at centre-back. I know he's come out and said he's a right-back, and I definitely would be more than happy for him to play there. But the way that JJ's playing, if we could move Luko as a centre-back alongside maybe Okoli, there's your pace to play the suicidal high line. He's been decent on the ball. The problem is he loves to join in an attack, so he could turn into a better version of FaZe, who wanted to play as a striker his whole life. But what do you think of that, Anil? Because he honestly, JJ, does, like, if obviously you wouldn't want a Luko to get injured, but like it's nice to know that like something were to happen to him, JJ is going to slot into there perfectly. And I want him to get some football from what I've been seeing preseason.
Well, but that's the point, isn't it? I feel like at League One, you want to get them both in the team. Just give them their minutes because they're obviously good, right? So I really do get. Oh,
what's a ball from him?
Jayden. Yeah, well, he's in.
He's playing for a corner, didn't get it.
Yeah, probably should have done better there, but not a winger by heart, so I'll kind of let him off there. Yeah, Jaden Joseph's been fantastic this half. One of their standout players, I would say.
For me, he's been, because he was, Carr was the first to kind of excite people in preseason. But for me, as soon as I've seen JJ, I've been like, this kid's good. Carr needs, more work. He's still raw, needs final product at the end. But like, I definitely think he's a player to also watch. But it's going to depend how much minutes he gets.
Going to bring up this comment from Josh. There seems to be a lot of happy clappers here. I work at home match day, so unfortunately have to be here. Lol. Patterns of play seem to be promising so far. Thank you for that. Good to have insight in the game. Not surprised by that. But yeah, I do think we look pretty good. I always think with these friendlies, like the result is basically unimportant. It's can you actually see some cohesiveness or see what we're trying to do? And I think it's pretty effective right now. And we would have been 1-0 up if it wasn't for Bobby Donkey over Reed. Yeah, Mavadidi because blows so hot and cold. I mean, what's he done even in this game? To me, it's just the same Steffi Mavadidi from last season, just passenger. I think it says a lot that like Koulibaly, quite impressive. Jaden Joseph, quite impressive. Liam Cullen, quite impressive. Steffi Mavadidi, non-existent compared to the other players on the pitch, Or Ben Nelson's gone down. He's crying. Shit, is he seriously injured?
No.
Oh man, okay. This is really bad. This is giving me Fafana flashbacks. He doesn't look anything like as bad as what I don't know. He's really so Ben Nelson is really tears. He's properly in tears. This is man. Is that a season?
There you go.
Already?
He's staying then. That answers your questions for people wondering if Nelson's gone, but the looks of what is happening, I don't think so now, unfortunately. I don't want to go, but for him, yeah.
Yeah, well, Nelson might have done his ACL. The way that he's crying, it don't look good.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Even the other players are feeling for him. No one wants to see that.
It looked innocuous. We'll have to see here. I'm not sure if it was Tommaso, Genoa fan. How's going the match? I don't want to say this, but the Genoa have not really turned up so far, if I'm being honest. I thought you guys would spank us, to be honest. I'm not sure, though, if you're playing your first team or a squad player. Where can you watch the match? You can watch it on Fox's Hub. I actually thought you guys might be streaming it on your site, too. Anyway, this is really... Okay, they say Ben Nelson's up, but I'm guessing he's going to get subbed for sure.
Yeah. Who where are we? Tomás Bernardi. Buongiorno, come stai? Tu sei pazzo? Watching Leicester City.
Yeah, I saw that. Daka scored again against Everton for Hamburg SV. Do you know what? I'm not really that surprised though. I think he's probably made for German football. But what a flop Patson Daka was. I actually cannot believe how much of a flop he was. I thought when we signed him, he looked absolutely ideal for Leicester City style of play, like with his pace and work rate. But man, just goes to show you sometimes, you know, Luke said it earlier, every transfer is a gamble.
Every transfer is a gamble. I hope for Ben Nelson's sake that this is nothing catastrophic and it's maybe a 6 to 8 week injury, because if that's the case, it increases our chances of keeping him if you're in the camp of wanting him in League One. Did Faze and Suter play in this Coventry game, Anil? Because I'd imagine that team would have been probably more in the shop windows.
No, it looks like a lot of the academy graduates are playing in it. They didn't post a lineup. They just have a report on it, so it's actually quite hard to.
Okay. He just kind of limped off a little bit, Jason. I think if it was like a real out-and-out ACL, they would have stretched him, surely. I know you could walk off.
Yeah. Do you remember when Ricardo Pereira played with an ACL after an injury with Jack Grealish gave to him? Now, okay, you're right. Harry Suter and Wout Faze were in the. Harry Suter was captain, Wout Faze at the heart of defence, Hamza Chowdhury, Fran Vietes, Christian McFarlane, and then you had Aluko, Lewis Page, Tommy Neal, Riley Carr, Lorenz Hutchinson, and Michael Golding even turned up. Wow. So he is alive. They said that Michael Golding almost scored at the end. Yeah, Justin walked off when he did his ACL. You never know. 8 minutes of stoppage time.
That's been making me fucking rage that we haven't even seen Golding even play, even in a friendly. For fuck's sake, we are now at League One. We spent $5 million on this guy to send him and play with our youth academy. I don't fucking care what anyone says about this bullshit Keenan Dewsbury Hall deal. You don't fucking accept a guy that you're not even going to play or even send out on loan for $5 million. This is a massive, colossal financial fuck up. Everyone's like, oh, it's just $5 million. I bet you'd love to have fucking $5 million to play with at this club right now. Fucking stupid.
Well, but that was done as part of the deal, right? So the value is kind of irrelevant. But just to mention here, so what's happened is Jake Evans has come on. He's playing now in the right wing. Woyu Koulibaly's moved back to left back, and Luke Thomas is playing as left centre back, just to make do with the injury. So they obviously weren't expecting that Ben Nelson to go off. So we get to see Jake Evans coming on. Bit of a shame for Woyu Koulibaly. He looked really good in that wing position.
Well, a bit told he's ambidextrous, so he can play off both sides. Although anyone at a professional level should fucking be able to use both feet. Just saying.
I agree with you at a pro level. Nigel Farage.
Like the amount of people in Aussie rules that can't use both their feet. Like, do you know what? Like, I have had so many people like that cannot fathom that I switched governments and went from Aussie rules to football. And I'm telling you, the difference in quality and technicality of the sport is night and day. And I tried to go back and watch some Aussie rules the other day, and I just couldn't. It was just fucking hideous.
It's just all physicality, isn't it? That's why. Skip driving up the ball. Yeah. What? Mavidi with a spin loses it, of course.
Would you say, watching football, you've watched a lot longer than I have, the amount, obviously it goes in cycles and stuff like that, and styles of play, intricacies, but you would argue that of all the ball sports, this is the one that evolves the most, surely, and constantly changes. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think of this.
No, I think you're right. I'm trying to compare it to like other sports and things like that. I've like another one. It might sound weird to say this, but for example, I was gone half time here. Like tennis, for example, like the speed of the serves and the way that people play backhands and stuff like that is adapts quite a bit. Anyway, let's get back to the game. So it's 0-0. Played really well. The only bad news really is that Ben Nelson went off with what looked like a fairly serious injury. He was at least on his feet, limping off, but as Luke said, I think best case scenario, he's out for 2 months, and worst case scenario, he could be out for a lot longer than that. Talk to me about that. What did you make of that half, Luke?
Really good, created a lot of chances, saying the team is actually decent on and off the ball, which is important for us to as you mentioned when when Enzo first started, and how he had people playing in and out of position, like when Didi, Ricardo Pereira so early. Obviously, it's levels below, but it's good to see Rosselmite has got these guys confident in their rotation play. He's able to move people out of position. For me, really, really good in that game half was Braybrook. Looked really good on and off the ball, setting things up, giving the 1-2s. I also think that obviously my man Koulibaly looked decent, but the biggest man, as we've already mentioned several times, if you're just tuning in, was JJ. This Jaden Joseph.
Yeah,
For
Jaden
me,
Joseph. Yeah,
needs to start. They need to find a way for both him and Aluko to be in the same starting 11 because he's too good from what I've seen in preseason to not start him at League One. I think he's great, and I want to see his career start to develop. I want to have another breakthrough player, and this kid could be it.
absolutely. Do you think the injury to Nelson will mess Sheffield United move up for Suter? I've heard that John Rudkin's got on the phone back to Yannick Vestergaard and told him to come back. So I'm hearing. I think regardless, even if he's injured, they will still try and move Harry Suter on, given his wages. I think worst case scenario, they'll loan someone or something like that. But that is a blow for sure. We'll talk about the Big Ange stuff there in a moment. You can go on. I can see you started it. Go on then. Good day, Luke. What do you think of Big Ange managing in the Saudi League?
Shout out to David. I hope you're well, mate. I don't really care, to be honest, if you do. I think I get annoyed when I see any decent player, any decent manager go to Saudi. You know it's for money, but for me it's redundant. It does nothing for your CV. Who gives a fuck what you did over there for overinflated money? There's no Champions League football over there.
There sort of is. There isn't Asian South and it's a Champions League. It's just no one cares about it. But there is one. Yeah. I say good for him, man. Grab the bag. Why not? If you can do it while you can always come back. Like, for example, I saw like Crescencio Somerville went to one of the teams, didn't he, as well? But he's like 24. So the thing is you can go to Saudi for 3 years, come back, and you can still get a European move, and you're going to be set up for life. I mean, I hate to say it, but if one of us was offered that Saudi money, I don't think you're saying no.
No, that's fair.
Can I get your thoughts on the fact that Patson Daka is now bagging goals? For me, is inevitable. I think as soon as he went somewhere else, it was going to happen. I think German football, especially, like I say, because he played in Austria where he scored all his goals. That's probably a good move for him. What can you say? Sometimes it doesn't work out. Like another one was Andre Kramaric, right? I don't know if you remember him, Luke. We had Kramaric. He was actually in the Great Escape season for a little bit. Never really did it at Leicester. Hoffenheim legend. Every time you see him at the World Cup with Croatia, he looked incredible. You're like, man, I wish we had a player like that. And we did. We had him, but we just had him when he was too young. Sometimes it's like that. Although I will say that Kramaric is like several levels above what Patson Daka will ever be. What about you? I think you're just happy not to be able to see the Zambian fans on Facebook, right?
They fucking piss me off so much, stupid idiots. And now they're going to have to deal. Hopefully, the Germans can't understand what they're saying because they're going. I couldn't give a fuck what he's done in preseason. Let's see it does at the end of the season. This guy's the biggest fucking flop ever for the club. I'm so stoked he's gone. I really am. What an absolute scumbag performance that he put in across every single season. Like, holy shit. And what do I think of? I don't like. No, I hate the Zambian fans so much more than Bangladesh. They're just kind of annoying. The Zambians were just deluded and fucking stupid idiots. Yeah, I got no apologies for them.
Any stand-up players? I mean, Luke just gave Jaden Joseph the big sing-song, and rightfully so. Excellent in that half. There were a lot of players that were pretty good.
A lot of players did. Yeah. What did you think of Akoli that first half?
He was okay. I think once or twice we got to some issues, but the Highland got away with it. Okay, to be honest, like I say, I mean, I wouldn't say he stood out. The ones that stood out to me, I think you're right, Jaden Joseph. I thought Koulibaly was pretty good. I thought Liam Cullen for his debut, very promising. Sammy Braybrook, he looked a class. He's probably the best player on the pitch, I thought. Or maybe Jaden Joseph. Those were the better players. I think, sadly, if you were to ask me the players that didn't stand out, Luke, it's the same old people. Mavididi, Skip. Bobby Reid was horrendous that half, you've got to say. I mean, he literally stopped a goal-scoring opportunity. Get him out of the team, really.
I don't think if you don't have pace, you
Hey,
don't fit into Ross
Lux is
system.
listening in. Lux, talk to us, you King Power happy clapper. How is it at the stadium? Get us as much match footage as you can. And what have you heard from Ben Nelson? I know you guys are in the know. Probably Steve's already worked it out. Go on, Luke. Yeah, Buzz says here, I take this is a really good stat. 2 XG with 11 shots and 6 on target against, it's not La Liga, it's Serie A team, but I mean, still, good team.
Very, very good. We haven't seen anywhere near this XG in a very, very long time. And also, what even fucking is Bobby Donkey over Reed? He's not a 10, he's not a winger, and he's not a fucking anything. He's a he is like a step above utility man for Hamza Chowdhury, essentially, for me. He's nothing in terms of an out-and-out position. He does not excelled at anything for me.
Do you know, I have to say this and probably get to trouble for this, but like, what is it with Kate's glazing of Bobby Reed? Every time she's on this, goes, oh, he's such a baller. He leads by example. Is she blind? The guy is crap. He's crap in the Premier League. He's crap in the Championship. He's crap here in his friendlies. This is what scares me, Luke, is that you sign players like this and people say, oh, you know, the experience, they'll be good at this level. Like, you know, what we've done now with Connor Chaplin and Liam Cullen, and then they turn out that they're not good either, and you're stuck with these players on high wages. To be fair, Cullen looks quite good. Probably at this level he'll be all right. But yeah, that's his fair point. Yeah, he's a winger who's lost his pace. He'd do all right in the 8 role. I don't know. I think he's just be out there.
You raise a good point, right? Like this narrative of they're good to have around. If you're a young guy, right, like, and you've probably your ego's through the roof, you've got that young lad arrogance, you know, what do you think you're going to be thinking if you've got someone like Donkey Overrated or one of these like overpaid players like Connor Cody, whatever, and you're thinking, how the fuck is this cunt getting in front of me in the starting 11? This guy's a flop. If you're going to, you need to be able to have skills to command that sort of respect sometimes of these guys, particularly this day and age generation. So I think that's a bullshit narrative. I'm right there with you. Bobby Donkey Overrated, just, for me, just dire. One of our highest earners, and he's like stinking out the joint. I hope he's not starting 11 next week.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm just looking at it. So actually, Genoa are playing a pretty strong team that I can see here. They've got Baldazani in the team, things like that. I think, got to say again, playing against such high-level opposition, really good. Yeah, BDR needs something off, bring on a Cherry. I've got a feeling that's going to happen. I think that's maybe why they brought on Jake Evans there rather than another defender. Maybe they'll change it at half-time. This is a good comment. James Willett says, last year, some thought we could get promoted if only Daka and Ayew up front. This year, we have to, Bobby de Cordova-Reid starting at number 9 in the final preseason game. I mean, that you got to call it like it is, exactly. I mean, that's why, for me, if you had to ask me, I'll be honest, if I had to say right now, the season starting, I don't know, but I'd actually say playoffs. I couldn't say better than that, just because I think my opinion will change once the window is closed. But I think right now, you've got all these players that are low on morale. They stunk out the place. I mean, even all the players that we're excited for, like Sammy Braybrook, didn't play last season for us in the league, right? And he played in not this league last year. How are you feeling about that, Luke? Or are you now HMS the league?
I've kind of just depressed me for a minute. I just thought to myself back a minute ago, I was just like, Anil and I did a video on my old channel, Leicester City Down Under, and we glazed the shit out of the entire team basically after we got promoted with Enzo. We're going to finish 11th, 12th. We spent ages talking about how good we were going to do in the Premier League. And we're beaming in this video. It's like, it was so exciting. Imagine if I said to you at the end of that video, do you reckon in like 3 years' time we're going to be in League One with Bobby Donkey Overrated as our starting striker? You'd fucking be like, he's smoking crack. Here we are.
Yeah, no evidence of Wout Faes being moved on. No one wants him. High wages. I mean, probably going to end up staying and starting playing again like he did last year. I mean, guy is absolutely stealing a living, isn't he? What can you say? What other positions do you think the squad needs? Because if you look at our signings now, so we signed there like a support striker. We just signed another winger. Striker we've obviously talked about. Any other? Oh, do you want to see? Because I'll be honest, Luke, I still think we need maybe 2 strikers, given that there still aren't really any at the club. I suppose it depends what you think of Cherry. I know he has been quite impressive in pre-season, but you know, you never know, right? Maybe it'll be one of those that because the transfer window goes on, if he does well in his first couple of games, you don't need to sign another striker. But if he does, you know, you maybe do it.
I'm on board with basically what Callum just said here.
Mhm.
I'm with you. Another striker and another centre back. Nelson's just gone down. Sutar looks like he's on the way out to Sheffield United. Faze, I can't see being here either. That's 3 centre backs now we're out with. So for me, I know we talk about, is it Keith? I don't know how to say his name. Is it Gray? Decent touted. We haven't seen him much though in pre-season as a centre back. So for me, we need another centre back. We need another striker. I think we're decked out in the midfield. I think wingers, yeah, possibly another winger. We keep seeing Warrior deployed as a winger, and he's a fullback. He's now been moved back, but it's twice now, so it's no coincidence that he's been there. So I think.
This is a great comment. It speaks to how good a coach Enzo actually is. Bloke made Vestergaard, Winks, and Mavadidi look world class. You know what? You can't say it's true. But how do you think Enzo will do this season at Man City, by the way? They're going to lose Rodri, it looks like, but they've signed Elliot Anderson.
I think they're going to be okay. I don't think they're going to win the league, though.
But I mean, if he doesn't win the league, is that not a failure for them? I don't know.
Possibly. I think United's actually going to have a good season.
They're in Europe, though. Could the average player in League One is on 4K a week. We have players in 50K. We're in financial trouble again, 100% with this. That's what scares me, Luke. And the way that the club is as well, I don't think they. I know sometimes I feel that they try and like paper over the cracks and make it all, I will say one thing is interesting is that, as of right now, they're still, for example, doing all this kind of coverage and everything's been done to quite a high level of quality. So they are acting like they're still a team in the upper end of the Championship or in the Premier League. But if it's all for show and they're just hemorrhaging money in the background, is it going to cost us? Like, is it just going to be like, I don't know about you, Luke, but for me, I wouldn't be surprised if in our lifetimes you open a paper one day and you read something and it says King Power file for bankruptcy. Not Leicester City. I mean, the actual King Power group. And like people end up making YouTube videos and they'll be like, oh, here's the story of how a massive fortune was squandered. Because I mean, it does happen, right? There are plenty of companies look at Nokia. I used to have a Nokia phone when I was like a teenager, right? They're basically non-existent now. What about you? Or am I just like too much of a doomer?
No, not at all. Like, you can still unearth, by the way, fucking Nokia's like on building sites buried under time with fucking battery and still ready to play Snake. Shout out to Nokia. Now he just brought me back for a minute. What was the question? I just got distracted now. But King Power going bankrupt, I can 100% see it happening. Like, how many players have we seen walk on a free? In total, I think we're pushing the north of 400 million pounds. For Australians listening, that's 800 million Australian dollars that we have just walked for nothing. That is a catastrophic amount of money. And then you add everything else into it that we've gone abysmally wrong. The lost, no parachute payments, no this, TV right money. We have absolutely bled money. And that's only in Leicester City alone, let alone King Power. So, you're not doom and gloom to say that 100% could happen.
You asked me before about who I'd rather less see out of Luke Thomas and Hamza Chowdhury. Matthew here says, if Faye says I'm fucking done. So let me ask you, like, who right now is your number one most hated Leicester player? In our current squad. Above Wild Faze?
Yeah, because Wild Faze can play. Wild Faze can fucking play. So you can wing me back over that way, you know what I mean? Like, if this guy comes in and bangs a header from a set piece and cups his ears like that, I don't get as mad as Locks. I think it's funny. I think fair game. If you could talk shit, he should be able to talk shit back.
Fair enough. I think I'd still say Wild Faze is the most hated of the players that we've got here. There's so many dislikable ones there, but but then let's say for the first game of the season, let me ask you this. Do you remember you had that thing with Ricardo Pereira? So do you think first game of the season, Wild Faze is in the starting 11? I think it's next week, the first game of the season, by the way.
It is. Fuck. He's been captain in one of the preseason games. You can see it happening. I wouldn't be against it.
2 weeks away, to be fair, actually. It's 2 weeks away.
It's 2 weeks, is it?
Yeah. So that could change it. 1 week, I think there's no chance he's not in the 11. 2 weeks. And this is fair, though. Can't see Leicester selling now Suter and... can't see selling Suter now. Nelson is injured. And maybe that's the same with Faze. Hard to miss all of them.
I think at least one of them goes. I think both go. I still think both go. If money comes in from, they'll take it for everything we just mentioned earlier. We need money.
Here's a good one. Dennis Wise is my most hated player ever. But let me ask you, Mr. Ronald McDonald, great burgers, by the way. Dennis Wise or Harry Winks, which of those two do you hate more? I'm sure you'll probably say Dennis Wise, which would be fair enough. But there you go.
Players are walking back out. Jake Evans, it looks like he's walking out back onto the pitch, guys. Stalacek's still in goal. Just waiting for the camera to pan over the rest of the players.
Well,
but definitely just saw Jake Evans.
Bring up Twitter, they'll have the lineup. No, it looks like it's exactly the same 11. That's interesting. So I guess they want to get 90 minutes into everyone here.
I saw Jake Evans walk out the tunnel. Okay.
Yeah, he will be because he came on at the start of something. Yeah, Dennis Wise every time, fair enough. He was a proper prick, wasn't he, Dennis Wise? It's crazy. At the time when we first signed him, I thought it was going to be a good signing. Thomas is still the left centre back. Yeah, but you know what, right? The thing is even if he gets cooked, it's just to give the players 90 minutes. So, you know, it's a bit unfair to haul him off because someone else got injured, right? What does that really say about the player? And of the options that we got on the pitch, you probably can't put Woyo as a centre back, right? So yes, it could even be something that costs us this game, but it's only a friendly. I wouldn't bring too much into it. All right, second half underway. Now it's Genoa kicking from left to right. Bring up the so Leicester team again. Here we have it. Let me just bring it up in case joining us late. So starting 11, Stalacek, Jaden Joseph, Caleb Okoli, Ben Nelson, who's gone off injured, replaced by Jake Evans, Luke Thomas, Woyo Koulibaly, Semi Braybrook, Ollie Skip, Liam Cullen, Steffi Mabadidi, Bobby de Cordova-Reid. And as we mentioned, sadly, Ben Nelson had to go off with what looked like a fairly serious injury. Jake Evans has come on in his place. Other than that, though, we've actually played great, to be honest. Yeah, Dennis Wise in the era of watching Lee Marshall and Junior Lewis. Oh my God, what was Peter Taylor smoking? Trevor Benjamin was another one, Adi Akinbaye. I don't know if you probably, this is before your time, Luke, but we had this player, Adi Akinbaye, and everyone used to call him Adi Crappinbaye. Like he was so, it was like a massive meme. At the time, we spent like a club record 5 million on him. That was a lot of money back then. Oh, poor giveaway, Genoa, are they in? Steffi Mavadidi with the hospital pass, but we've got out of trouble. I don't predict over 2 goals for the friendly. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? It could open up. If it's like a massive amount of change from either side, it could mix things up.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have known you during the first Rodgers relegation because I would have what were you thinking? Were you screaming seeing week in week out Amati start as a centre back? Was that like peaking you out? Because it freaked me out that season.
It was sabotage, man. What I personally think was going on at the club there is that Brendan Rodgers wanted to be sacked. He literally wanted to be paid out to be sacked. So he was deliberately picking him over Soyuncu to do that, right? Sack me. I'm literally going to pick a stupid team. But because John Rudkin is fucking grade 1 retard, right? They didn't pick up on this and they kept backing him. And then I think he sort of changed his mind. So I just think, of course, it was. So that's the thing, Luke. It didn't really trigger me because because I told you that season I did still go to a lot of the games. And I went to the game against Arsenal where Danny Ward was horrendous. And I saw Fofana getting cooked by Martinelli. That was just before Fofana went. And I knew then we were in trouble. I thought, oh man, this is not looking good. But why I'm saying that is that it didn't look good from the manager's perspective. Like the biggest thing I could see is that like the manager himself wasn't interested anymore. And that's why he had to get sacked. That's why it was so stupid. Like, you know, it happens. They should have just come to the agreement. Like he obviously was like, look, I joined this club because we're going to be pushing for Europe. You can't not back me at all in the transfer market. So obviously Brendan understandably gets like a lot of hate, which I understand. But I will say at the same time, like, you know, he did say, look, I need to rejuvenate the squad. And he wasn't wrong in the end, was he? If he did what happened with that team. So, you know, I think bigger issues is that we gave him too much money. We gave him too much control. And why were those things allowed to happen? And as I say, we ended up in that situation where that season, it was pretty clear that they should have just sacked him. It was so obvious. And so that's what frustrates me is you're almost in that. Again, the patterns of play look really good down both wings. And yeah, Rodgers, do you know what? Brendan Rodgers, I've heard, is cooking in Saudi with that team. I think he's doing really well with them. I've seen all these pictures of him wearing the thing.
he has the same thing the same pattern every club. He has a 3-year cycle, and it goes to
Yeah,
shit in the third year. Every single club he's been to, everyone, Swansea, Liverpool, all of them, Liverpool. I think that I completely agree with everything that you just said. I also think that like what was horrible about the club and the Pirate was, I think quite early he said that like he said what
yeah,
you said, but he also said that these players aren't good enough. Like if everyone that's in that team down tools after that, oh, this guy doesn't even rate me. He doesn't want to be here. Look, we did a Sionsu, but then also like he was totally right. We needed rejuvenation, but his record and of sales was honking at the fucking time that he was there. Like his team was built by no one liked him, but the French lad that was in before him basically
yeah.
built that team.
Puel.
No matter well, like kind of similar to Nigel Pearson to
Ranieri.
Ranieri. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't I wouldn't have trusted him to spend money in the transfer window again, but he was right to call that out. He should have been gone after the fucking Brentford game, though.
Yeah. That. Well, maybe you could have had a few more, but especially when we lost like 5 in a row, everyone should have got rid of him at that point in time. So it's crazy. And the thing is that yeah, for sure, he had the tantrum and everything like that. But like Mourinho's done it. Like that's what I thought he was doing because he used to work with Mourinho as well, right? He was at Chelsea at the same time, not quite in a coaching setup, but he was at the under-21s coach at the time. So to me, it looked Luke like he was doing that, like textbook. I'm just going to be because Mourinho did this once at Chelsea. They signed this player Steve Sidwell, who was a midfielder, and they gave him the number 9 shirt. And the reason they gave him the number 9 shirt is that Mourinho was trying to make the point of like, you need to buy me a striker. So if this is what you're going to buy me, I'm going to play him up front. And he even did, I think, do that in a few games, right? And like, he's literally going to war with Abramovich, going, you buy me a striker or I'm going to do something retarded like this, right? Don't think I won't do it, right? And the big egos kind of thing. But the problem is someone like that's going to walk all over or, well, I mean, to be fair, we didn't spend the money in the end that season, but yeah, just the people that own the club are stupid. Oh, breed pressing. So, second half, again, we've started very well. Like, again, we look dominant team. I mean, we had the Genoa fan in earlier. I mean, I'd be a bit worried if I was you guys. I don't know where you are in your pre-season, but I mean, we're a League One team. You're getting bossed around, and we are not a good team. We might end up being a good team at the end of this year, but Jake Evans here on the right-hand side. Jaden Joseph made the overlapping run.
Warriors looked very good as well.
Even in his left back position, exactly.
But please keep Luke Thomas out of that position, for God's sakes. He's so much better already. It's obvious.
I do wonder if Russell Martin has said to Woyo that you are going to be part of my plans this season.
I think how much he will be.
How much do you reckon he's on, Woyo, in terms of wages?
We bought him
20
for,
grand,
I think it was,
maybe.
Was it 3 million euros?
Yeah,
not pounds.
Quite cheap.
Yeah. So,
because what I'm thinking is he might have been signed as someone who was like technically on championship wages, and he probably would have got a reduction even in League One. I don't know. You'd have thought that he wouldn't want to waste his time in League One, but what surprised me, Luke, is he actually is playing like a player that seems quite motivated.
He's probably just excited to be playing football, Anil. I know he went out on loan, but before that, he was frozen out. He had that proper emo post, life is nothing. So I think he's maybe
okay. Genoa have changed their entire team. Fair enough. So okay. I won't judge too harshly then. Yeah, fitness is a big deal at this point in time as well. Like, just if you've got that extra 10-15%, you can run rings around someone, even if you're. But by the way, what did you make of Eddie Howe leaving Newcastle? That was I guess it wasn't that big of a surprise, but it kind of was at the same time.
He's probably cracked the shits. His team's just been gutted, so to speak, or they just lost. Gumai's apparently they've just lost.
Signing on Monday. Tonali's gone.
Tonali.
Yeah. They lost signings to other clubs as well, didn't they? Like they were going to get Manzambi and he went to Aston Villa. They were going to get Munoz and he went to Liverpool. Oof.
Same effort from Mr.
Cullen.
Evans.
No, that was Liam Cullen, yeah.
Cullen was, yeah.
I've got to say, this is the only worrying thing with Liam Cullen here. So his positioning, his linking up with the play, his working in the system, really good. For someone making their debut, super impressive. But it's sort of conviction in front of goal. he just doesn't look like a natural finisher to me. But I suppose he's not going to be the definitive number 9. But as we're all saying here, like who's the bagsman for Leicester this season? Who is the Matty Fryer who's going to get 30 goals? I think we'd settle for someone to get 20. You know,
yeah, we would.
Maybe it'd be Connor Chaplin from midfield. You never know.
I think. What did you say before? I just completely just went off topic.
Eddie Howe, but we'll come back to that at the moment. Let's just ask this. Say, is Nelson's knock good news because he might stay, or bad news because he'll stay? What do you make of that?
That remains to be seen. I think at this level he would have been okay. I'm just not convinced that he would suit a Russell Martin style of football. I'm just not convinced. But then again, you can make that argument for...
He was made captain, though, which kind of seems to me that he was seen as an important part of... You got to remember as well, like he...
Faze was captain too.
But it could be a similar reason. No, what I was going to say is you got to remember, Enzo had Ben Nelson ahead of Connor Cody by the end.
That's true.
So in terms of ball-playing centre-back, I'll answer for me personally, I still would have liked to have seen him sold. After what I saw last season from Ben Nelson... I'm not sure he's going to be a Premier League player. Doesn't look good enough.
No, he's not. So, he would have been by now.
So yeah, exactly. So Bobby Reid. To be fair, that was unbelievable pass from Bobby Reid. Mavididi, all is forgiven. Bobby Reid. Kate was right. Mavididi, step over. Going to lose the ball. We're all waiting for it. Oh, he's actually got the pass off. No, he's lost the ball.
Donkey Everett playing the biggest man as always. Sorry. I think Eddie Howe underperformed.
Enzo having Nelson above Suter, he was never going to play as Suter. Suter just cannot. He's an old-fashioned centre back. He's not a modern centre back that can play with his feet. He's still. You can see why someone like Suter would be amazing on the Chris Wilder, but he's never going to be good in the high possession style. I've got a feeling they're trying to get Nelson to sign a new contract. But here's a one for you, Ronald McDonald. What happens if he's out for, let's say, 4 months? Do you get him to sign a contract regardless, knowing that he might come back and not be the same player? Because sometimes they do that. Like some teams, like I don't know if you remember this. This is like a legendary one. Man United were going to sign Van Nistelrooy from PSV, and he'd done his ACL and he was out for an entire year. But then the following season, even though he just come back off an injury, Man United signed him anyway, and he turned. He's one of the best strikers Man United had. Unbelievable. It's too bad he was a terrible manager. But it was interesting to me that was like man management. Fergie must have said to him, don't worry about it, son. You getting injured is not your fault. You're still going to be my number 9. I'm coming back for you next year.
Sweet.
So yeah, from Fossub, this is I'm kind of in team Fossub here. It says Nelson is already shit, and when he comes back, he's going to be more shit. I can see him redeeming his career quite a bit this season, but I just think if there was money on the table, I'd really like who else in the academy try and start developing another player that's going to be taking over. To be honest, when I see Nelson and Coley playing, I think it's a waste of time. I think these guys were proven that even at championship level, they weren't good enough. There's got to be better players out there that you can bring in.
I don't think he was. Yeah, he will never be a Premier League player. Can someone teach Mavididi to pass? Shout out to Craig. He had nowhere to pass to be fair to begin with, but same thing as always. Hesitates.
If he got no one to pass to, you got to recognize that and take a shot, right? Even if the keeper saves it, like get the corner out of it. As you say, he's just dilly-dathered and got caught between no man's
He gets stuck in his head. I've been saying this for ages of him. He's a confidence player that spends too much time in his head on the ball. He overthinks everything, and if he's confident, he just plays a freedom where he doesn't think. It just becomes second nature to him. He really needs to be drilled, but every single time he slows down on the ball, does a few step overs, and then by that point, it's just the move's already over because he won't shoot either. He's not. Yeah, for me, if someone comes in for Mavididi now, I think sell. If he had a good preseason, I think he would have had a good season. I really do. I think his season was dependent on like him scoring and like doing something early to be able to get him confident again. I really believe that.
Who, Mavididi?
Yes. I think if he had a good preseason, if he had scored once or twice and then set a few goals up, I think he goes on to have a good season.
I don't know, man. He just seems like such a miserable cunt to me.
Probably. JJ again.
Braybrook again involved in everything. I think Skip's been better this half, being more of a metronome.
Yeah.
Still, Oh, hang on, the high line caught out here. Genoa, 4-2. But they're dilly dally. I mean, they
Go
just done
on.
the Mavadidi there, if you ask me as well. Dilly dallied, got away with
Coley's
it.
done well there.
Yeah. I will say one thing is kind of interesting. So I think in every game that we play, and you're going to see this, I think, throughout the season, there's going to be probably once or twice a game where the high line does get exposed. But I think the way that we recover from it is not too bad. Like, you know, that's another reason why teams play that kind of high line, right? So, like, even if you have it, if you've got the sweeper keeper, if you've got someone fast at the back, you can still make it that it's not a nailed on goal. Because I think at League One level, you'll get away with playing a high line. I think we found out last season that even in the Championship, like under Enzo, you could get away with it. But I think last year we found out the hard way that the high line, you know, people have clocked on.
I think that I agree. I also think Mavadidi has no game awareness. Other players will know where other players are and past their value. Looking, he has to stop and check. You know what I think it is? I think his curse is that I think Keenan Dewsbury Hall made him look a lot better than he was. He constantly
Yeah. That's
is
do you
missing.
know what? That's a really fair point, actually. That is something that people don't mention, is that it's funny how Mavadidi, as soon as Keenan Dewsbury Hall weren't around, didn't look too good. Whereas Keenan Dewsbury Hall, obviously, great player. Can we get 2 back-to-back promotions is my question. I cannot see that. The only way something like that could happen is you'd have to hope that someone like one of these youngsters is like the next coming of Jesus, you know, like they're a player that's destined for the top 5 of the Premier League. Maybe if something like that happens and keep, Genoa should have scored there off a cross, header in. That was probably their biggest opportunity of the game.
You know what you were first to call early, Anil, that no one else, he doesn't get his credit for is, and I think all people, like any Chelsea player or any particularly even Everton player, they'll all say the engine on Keenan Dewsbury Hall is like top tier, world class elites. Like just that. I'm not saying he's a world class player, but in isolation, like the amount of like distance this guy covers and pace as well is like second to none, man. This guy's got a proper engine on him. I'd love to see his resting heart rate. It would be like phenomenal.
I sort of unfortunately agree with Mangfox here. There's probably more chance of a hat-trick of relegations than there is back-to-back promotions. Sad but true. The main reason why back-to-back promotions I think is impossible is, like I've just said earlier on in the show, is just that the financial gulf will be too much. You know, let's just say, argument's sake, that the 3 promoted teams to the Premier League this year, they all go down. So that's Ipswich, Coventry, Hull. And then we get promoted. But the thing is all those teams now have got like a crazy amount of money and have upgraded their squads. And our team, like, we're still thinking in our head, oh yeah, but we're Premier League. All the Premier League players have long gone, right? All the good ones anyway. I don't count Caleb Okoli as a Premier League player. So
fucking dodgy challenge. Sorry.
No, so that's why it'd be so hard to get back-to-back promotions. You just got a massive gulf. And then the only, like, the way that we got out of the Championship originally under King Power is, let's be honest, is because we spent more than the rest of the league and we got into trouble with it. We did an agreement with the EFL to get away with it. Like, this club and cheating, it goes through this DNA. King Power, like, such cheaters. So be tough. I think what you'd have to do is hope that your player trading can be good. You can keep finding talents, develop them, get money, get a surplus, and eventually you get enough of a good team that can push you over the edge.
How much did Sunderland spend when they first went up? It was over 100 million, wasn't it? It was a fair
150,
bit.
150.
That's right, 150. So like, imagine if they didn't stay up. They did really well, but like that's what you've got to do to stay up in the Premier League, and then hope at the end of that 3-year term you're not going to get fucked by FFP for trying to compete with the big boys. But you're 100% right, though. Regardless of who comes down, they're going to have a very strong squad. You're going to have teams that maybe were just flirting with playoffs that are going to want to make the next step and might even spend a bit more in just the Championship. So you're 100% right. There's a lot of things that can go wrong here. So that's why I think people are saying back-to-back promotions are smoke and crack, unfortunately.
From Clibo, though, what if King Power sells? Obviously, that's the dream. I think if they sold, I would be more optimistic. Depending on obviously who comes in, you could get someone who's worse. But the thing is even if someone comes in, it's hard to put in a lot of money, even in the Championship. That said, because of the home support that we get and the size of the club, we should still be amongst the sort of top 5 to 8 spenders. But no, it was offside. But look, for example, just to put this, well, I was gonna say, just to put this into context, so Stoke, They are owned by Denise Coates, who's like the richest woman in the UK. She owns this Bet365, like another dodgy online gambling thing. They're just like dripping in money. They have spent so much money, right? And that's why they in the Premier League at one point of Mark Hughes, they finished 8th 3 seasons in a row. They signed like Shaqiri, they signed like Bojan from Barcelona. Like, I don't know if you remember this. So they really backed their team, but they've never been able to get back to the Premier League. And they ran out of their parachute payments. So my point is that if you've got someone like that, and like, to be fair, I don't like her business, but I do know that Denise Coates loves her club and has backed that club as heavily as possible. Steve Gibson from Borough as well. So these clubs are not lacking financial support, but they've not been able to get out of the Championship. That's the worry. That's why we found it even when King Power took over. There was like times, Luke, where it just felt like after Deeney Day, oh my God, that was... After that, I just thought there's no way we're going to go to the Premier League. It's just destined not to happen. If you can blow your lines that badly. But yeah, of course, things can happen. I wouldn't have thought Coventry would get to the Premier League, and look at them. They won the Championship.
What happens if, let's say, some fucking Saudi prince with billions of dollars in oil money decides to buy Leicester City and go...
Yeah, but you can't pump the money in. Look at Newcastle. Newcastle are literally owned by Saudi
Premier
Arabia.
League, yeah. Championship, I'm not sure of the rules.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Pretty similar, yeah.
It's pretty similar. Sorry, that was my question. Sorry, I was working towards. Yeah, I just want to know the rule, because there's no out and out black and white rules. We're always constantly questioning: are we in breach this year? Are we in breach for that? No one knows. There's totally grey areas. Chelsea's selling himself hotels. No one fucking actually knows out and out what is and isn't allowed, and what can be fugazi, so to speak, to fucking get around it. But so you're telling me that, like, if we can't moneyball a team when we go up to the Championship, we have to carefully construct and hope that unearth gems and for cheap, and also academy players.
I don't know. If you're creative, Luke, there's always a way. If you pay off the right people and do the right things, so who knows? Just get better at cheating. It seems to be the better way. But I brought up this comment. Oh my God, if we do a Leeds and stay in the Championship for 20 years, if I had to be a betting man, I don't know about 20, but if you had to ask me 10 years from today where I think Leicester will be, I would say they're a playoff contending Championship team. That, I think, is the future you've got to get used to. And that might even include getting back into the Premier League once and dropping down, sort of thing. But I just think they blew the opportunity of a lifetime. They absolutely did.
Yeah.
And it makes me so mad, because I knew it at the time. Like, I did think even at the time that getting 5th every season was, even though we should have got Champions League, it was still definitely punching above our weight, right? Because definitely not one of the top 6 teams in the country. But I thought we're probably going to be a top 7, top 8 team for the rest of my lifetime, and I'm going to love that. I can't wait to see more of these European appearances and stuff like that. But yeah,
do you know what it's like?
Imagine
if you had a close relative that won an exorbitant amount of money in the lottery, and you watch them gamble it all the way, and you know that they're never going to get that opportunity again. Like,
or maybe someone that's got like a talent and they just waste it. Like, you must have friends like that, right? Like, I've got a friend who, like, he's so good at football. I'm so jealous, but I just think, what a waste, man. Like, overweight now, he's let it go. Like, I know, just because I think he's talented, he may not still have got to the professional game. It's so difficult, but I just think, what a waste. What a waste of being given a God-given talent like that,
It's depressing, man, because I was even stressed at the point. This is what's so sad for me. I felt despair when we got relegated from the Premier League. The first time, I was just like, oh my God, Maddison, Barnes, all these players, we're going to get picked fucking absolutely clean. Like, we're going to be nothing left. How are we going to build back to where we were? Because I don't care what anyone says. Like, remember that picture that it had, like, Lookman? It was a Europa League conference game. It had Ademola Lookman. You had fucking Keenan Dewsbury Hall, Vardy, Ricardo Pereira. Evans was still playing. Just the team was like elite. Like, it was like proper. Like, as a starting 11, we had like a borderline European contending football team. Okay, and we lost that. And look at us now. We're in League One. Who were the big marquee players that we could?
Genoa in. And 1-0 Genoa, they take the lead. And it was, of course, Luke Thomas at left centre-back. But He's playing there because we had an injury. So we know he's crap. And the Genoa fans are properly going mad. Fair play to them. Their fans have been great. Yeah, we are behind. So we're at 68 minutes.
68 minutes, 51.
Yeah, what you see is, oh my God, Luke Thomas. He just complete brain fart in the middle of the park. Absolutely terrible. That's the Luke Thomas we know and love. Good finish, to be fair. But what I'll say again is that, you mentioned the high line, right? So there you go. Where's the goal come from? They just mentioned it there on commentary against the run of play. But it's the high line. The high line giveth and the high line taketh away.
Where Anil do we now have? We have no big sales left. Fatawu is basically, that was the last one, the highest value, and look how much we got for him. So we basically have to get to a point where we can even have players again that are even worth £30 million, and where that could be very far away.
That could be never, Luke. That's the honest answer. Like I say, what I'm saying is you have to hope we get back to the Championship. Then in the Championship, it turns out that Lewis Page is the best midfielder in the division. And then he either takes you up, or if he doesn't take you up, you can sell him for what was paid. You get transfer inflation, right? So, look, there was a player bought from the Championship for 80 million this season in Mateus Fernandes. Now, of course, that's a bit unfair because he played in the Premier League, but it wouldn't surprise me if one of the best Championship players gets sold for 30, maybe even 40 million pounds next season at the end of this season coming up. So it might be possible. You'd have to help something like that. We'll have to see. Is this worth the fiver, boys? No, not really. I'll be fair. I think the first half we were actually excellent. This second half, it looks like they made a load of changes, Genoa. I wouldn't say they've been the better team, but I would say maybe the disappointing thing for Leicester is that I think we've been off it the last sort of 10 minutes. We're still passing the ball around fairly nicely, but I would say before then, we could honestly have been 3 or 4 goals up. Since then, this half, we haven't really made too much, and we're struggling to pass it through the lines. I'm going to put that more down to sort of player fatigue than anything. Or highline almost there getting up. What about you? Because we've had more of a conversation this half, Luke, and let's be honest, that probably means that there's not much going on in the game.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah. So, but why do you think that is? Because, like I say, in my opinion, what's happened is that we've lost that fluency. Apart from that one outrageous pass that Bobby Reed made, we haven't really done anything of note this half.
We're getting pressed a lot more this half as well, but there's some changes from Genoa. I'm surprised we haven't seen any more changes yet.
That's what I feel the game is crying out for. Like I was going to say, is that players who are great in that first half have, made less of an impact this half.
The only criticism I guess you could have is that we haven't had, a decent shot on goal yet. We've created a lot of chances in that first half, but nothing that, got you excited in terms of testing the keeper. But Pan's a player there, and I think that it's going to be night and day for League One. I think we're going to be all right. We're obviously going to boss the ball majority of our games, if not all, but that obviously will lead to criticism from certain sections of the fan base when you have 60-70% possession and you lose in the last 2 minutes to a goal and you don't score.
We did see Bobby Reed block Wayo's shot, sums up the man. I was going to ask you about that though. So you can see it here though. You can see where the position of the fullbacks they go to, because they push up right in to be almost like additional CDMs at times and help build up the play. I think Jaden Joseph has surprised me. He's been pretty good at that. But yeah, look, you see, here's the shape now. You have more of a kind of 2-3 rather than a 3-2 under Enzo. So that is for me the biggest stylistic difference between the two managers, is that Enzo would have 3 centre backs and then 1 inverting fullback. What Russell Martin does and says he has 2 centre backs and both the fullbacks invert, but they don't invert into the number 8 position, which Marty used to do, but they invert to become kind of additional 6s. So you end up having Ollie Skip and the 2 fullbacks next to him.
Yeah, it is a lot. It's a bit funky. Yeah, Enzo's was more basically a 4-3-3 out of possession, 3-2-4-1 in.
Yeah. I'll also keep an eye, because the way that I was going to do that, because I will do an analysis show when we watch this whole game, that rather than defending in a 4-4-2, we tend to do more of a 4-1-4-1. You can see it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting as to why he does that. I'd love to ask him I'm guessing it's to try and push the shape and things like that. But I will say what's kind of interesting is that I don't feel like Russell Martin has evolved his style at all, which is maybe a bit of a disappointment. I was kind of hoping that because if you look at Spain, right, in the World Cup less so, but in the Euros, they were really a lot more direct than previous Spanish teams. Even the goal that they scored, the winning goal in the World Cup final, that was a direct goal, right? Crossed to the back post, nodded back, and volleyed in.
That's what was so exciting to watch. High possession, but fast, direct, quick.
Yeah, exactly. I was hoping, who knows, maybe it will kind of come. But at the moment, this is exactly what I'd expect from Russell Martin, which is good and bad, if you know what I mean. But I suppose that you got to have a foundation layer. Maybe you don't want to introduce the ideas right away. Yeah, showing that it's screaming out for a striker. I agree. And I do think a lot of the time that we kind of, this second half, I can see is what would frustrate the home fans as well, though, where because of the way that we play, you can have a lot of possession, but because there's no focal point in the box, it kind of means that the attacks are, Sammy Braybrook?
Oh, don't give it
pass it to Maverdini. Exactly. So I was thinking the same thing. Don't pass it to Maverdini. You're doing so good up until then.
Don't.
He's been impressive, though, hasn't he, Sammy Braybrook?
It's times like this, he has. It's times like this that you kind of want someone to have that Fatawu-esque fucking just shoot from fucking anywhere. For God's sake, give me something to work with here.
Expect to see Sheffield Wednesday down in League Two. Are you guys? I thought you guys are going to be favourites with us to win the division. I'm not saying we'll win it, but I'm quite hesitant on that. But I was expecting you guys to absolutely romp it this season. What? How come you're so negative? If you had to ask me right now, they're actually the team I think is I was the most confident about getting promoted with the good morale after last season having that awful Chansiri in charge.
Jaden Joseph for me at this stage is comfortably man of the match.
You slagged Nelson, but since he went out, the game went downhill. I mean, that's fair, the change of position. Look, we're saying we thought Ben Nelson was good at League One. We just think that he shouldn't be at the club anymore. Steffi looks so bad that even some of our youth look 10 times better than him. Yeah. Wow.
I can't believe
our first team against Oldham and lost 4-0. Oof. Painful. Better to get the beatings out in pre-season, if you ask me, but that doesn't sound great. But look, if you've made so many new signings and you've got an entirely new team, it's going to take a while for everyone to bed in.
Go on, where? Using that physicality. Go on. No. He's done well there, where
he's been one of our best players. Oh, look at this from Braybrook. Oh, what those two for me is between those two and maybe Jaden Joseph, who's been our best player.
Go on, do something, donkey. Decent ball there.
Yeah, I'd actually say it's Woyo, because I think he's played two completely different positions and he looked great in both, and he would have scored if Bobby Reed moved out of the way.
Yeah, that's a fair shout.
Yeah. You can just tell with him that he's too good for League One,
Well,
Braybrook is someone who I've not really seen play enough for Leicester, but it says a lot that he's one of the best players on the pitch playing against the Serie A team. That's really impressive.
Go on,
almost got done by Highline. That was kind of, you saw though, we lost it on transition and on the Highline, but we dealt with it okay. Yeah, Woyo miles ahead of Thomas at left back too. Yeah, I'm guessing though that McFarlane will play at left back. But you'd have to say that based on what you've seen, I have to apologise to you, Luke. I mean, based on what you're seeing today, you'd have to have Koulibaly in the starting 11. You just have to. There's some position.
Thank you. I just wanted him to play last season instead of Luke Thomas. Yeah. I just didn't understand why. There we go.
That was Jake Evans. Good effort. Are we bringing on Sherry at any point? It's a shame, isn't it? I'd have liked to. I'm guessing that the point of this friendly was to give all of the players 90 minutes who've started. But that is worrying because that implies that Cherry, if he's not been given 90 minutes, he's not going to be part of one of the starting squad. Braybrook is my Timu Modric. He really does look like Modric with that haircut, doesn't he? He really does, and he even plays like him. Like he must be his idol or something like that.
I'm reaching. I swear to God, I was patiently waiting to say to you after looking at Jake Evans there. I was about to say.
Go Oh, Nicoli missed a free header at the back post, again summing up the player.
All the young lads, I was about to say, look like they're filled out proper, except fucking Braybrook. I was about to say he looks condemned to the Modric physique, but
never affected Modric though, did it?
No, it didn't.
If you've got that kind of build, you just have to be such a baller. But at this level, maybe he is. Good comment from Salt. It says, my only issue with Woyu at left back is he's right-footed, so he naturally narrows the pitch. Russell Martin needs the pitch as wide as possible to stop the low block. Maybe, but I do think at this level, like you can see that at this level that he can. Well, but he's clearly not as good with his left foot as he is with his right, but he's still good enough. I was going to say that to me, he still just looks like way better than anything at League One, so I don't think that'd be a problem. I think I would agree with you if it was at Premier League level. I think even in Championship, he looks quite. I kind of agree with you, Luke. I mean, he went out on loan last year, didn't he? But he does. It was one of these weird ones that, like, I thought it was weird under Cooper as well, where he played one half under Cooper. He got a yellow card, but he actually looked okay, and then he never played again after that. Like, what was not Cooper, Van Nistelrooy? Like, what was the point of that?
That's what I never understood. That was the last time
saw
him.
It's so weird. Yeah, and I thought he was the one that was bigging up so much when signing him as well. Oh, a cherry's ready. That's good. Oh, is the other way around? Is he left-footed but not good enough on his right? I thought he was right-footed. There you go. So we don't even know. Let me.
He's extra.
Yeah. Oh, finally, Bobby Reed goes off. And here he is, the big man, Kirsten O'Cherry.
Specs, is it?
Specs, yeah.
Apparently, fuck, he's got a long neck, this lad.
Yeah, on the stats, it just says Woyo preferred foot, both maybe as ambidextrous.
Look in. Do you think Fatah will ever be Premier League quality, Anil? Do you think he's
yes?
Yeah, you do.
100%. I think. I mean, he's playing in the Premier League, so he is Premier League ready. There you go. I think. I still think Ipswich will probably get relegated this season, but I think then it might take him a while. But I do think he's good enough. What you might say, Luke, hang on, Genoa might get a second here, is that at one point I thought, for example, that. Don't laugh, but at one point I thought what's going to happen is we're going to go to the Premier League. Fatah is going to be amazing, and Liverpool are going to buy him, and he might even replace Salah or be a squad rotation option for that position. Now, what I would say is I don't think he's ever going to go to Liverpool, but I think with his physicality and he's still good on a ball under a good coach, I can still see him playing for a mid-table Premier League team fairly consistently.
Okay.
I feel like his ceiling was above that, but I think unfortunately it might already have been taken away from him. Yeah, that will go mid-table Prem. That's what I think. Yeah. No, not the injury. I actually think it's our fault. We blew too much smoke up their arse.
Yeah.
Like, I think giving him his documentary was retarded. Like, when these players are young, you got to keep them hungry and competitive, not make them think that they're a diva. They've done the same with Kylian Mbappe, but at least with Mbappe, he was already good, so you can somewhat understand it. But like, be interesting to see what happens with Yamal, because at the moment they're doing a good job of maintaining him, like not letting him get too big of an ego.
It's pretty bad though when you see some of those videos where he's throwing balls back at players and fucking sucking and doing weird shit. He looks like a right wanker in some of those videos.
Well, you got to remember though that he comes from a pretty sort of bad background. Like, I'm pretty sure his dad was a dealer. Like they won't outright, they won't outright say it, but I'm pretty sure that's probably, I'm not talking about like a massive one, like a small peddler in the streets of Barcelona sort of thing. But that was a lovely touch. No, it wasn't Mavidi. He loses the ball, of course.
He's been the worst player for us.
Yeah, I'd agree. Actually, he's him or Bobby Reed, who's been worse, and I'd actually say it's Mavididi because at least Bobby Reed did do one really nice moment with the pass. Mavididi is just wasting oxygen. He's absolute waste of oxygen. And that you mentioned that on the positions there. You know, you said centre back and striker, but what about the wings? We have just signed Tommy Watson there.
Well, Jake Evans scored a goal from left wing last week or the week before.
And to be fair, I think moving him off the wing has made us look worse. So that was a good comment from earlier where they said after, we slated Ben Nelson. So I agree. We look worse since Ben Nelson. And I know that Luke Thomas made the mistake for the goal, but I actually think the reason we look bad is because we took Woyo Koulibaly off the wing. Because
let me ask you something.
Yeah.
So, go on.
No, I was just going to say, because for me, the way that we're playing is that neither of the wingers, sadly, it's the same with Jake Evans. They're just not impacting the game enough. And because they're not impacting the game enough, we haven't really got any. I don't feel we've posed any threat really to Genoa this half. Whereas in the last, in the first half, we were really knocking on the door.
So what we've seen in pre-season so far, we've seen Carr, Evans, Alves, and Hutchinson as the different options on either side of the wing from our youth, correct? Okay. But I don't think it's any coincidence that we've seen Woyo Koulibaly play now both the left wing and the right wing. Now, my question to you, Anil, is if there's no coincidence to that and he's doing that, we're expected, you would argue, that to be spending the majority of the time on the pitch exactly where we are right now. So you've got a player in Koulibaly who has pace for his size. He's tall, he's got physicality, and he can defend further up the pitch. So in my opinion, I think that is something that we actually might see more of him. The problem is, however, that he's clearly levels above Luke Thomas at left back. So if he stays, this is why I've been big upping this guy. I think at League One, he could set this division up.
Yeah. No, I think for sure. Tommy Watson, he's right-footed, so he probably will be competing for Mavididi's position or to have depth in that position there. Oh, Colombo in again. Saved there by Stolarczyk. Yeah, we looked pretty poor last 20 or 30 minutes.
What do you think of that, Anil? Do you think actually he has plans of playing Russell Martin? I forgot to ask you, sorry, at the end of that. Woyo Koulibaly as an out-and-out winger?
I have no idea. I'd love to give you an answer. I don't know. I will tell you that when I do the analysis, he's going to feature quite heavily on it. What I would say is that he's one of those players that the way that he's played in his appearances is you have to have him in the team. Like, he's been that good. I would probably say the same for Jaden Joseph though. So it's quite tricky, right? But I would say if you're a coach or a manager, you'd rather have way too many good players than them all off form like they were last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd rather have to disappoint one person, but because there's 4 or 5 people that are playing amazing, than have 5 players playing crap, and doesn't matter which one you pick, they're all crap. Or beat the high line, was that again? No, it was offside.
Miles offside.
Yeah, well, remember we've still got to see McFarlane, and I've heard a lot of very good things about him. So I'd be surprised if he stinks the place out. Oh, first time Braybrook's done a poor pass. Has won it back though. No, it's good.
Skip handball, I think.
No, they've let it play. That was good. He lost the ball, but he won it back immediately. Got us back on the front foot.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, Mavididi, take on your fucking man, you bitch. Oh, fuck out of here, that Southgate shit. What the fuck? How has he not been hauled off? I spent all season defending.
Because Tommy Watson only joined today. That's probably the answer. Oh, Jerry! Oh, almost got him in. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think we should just sell all the Premier League relegation donkeys 100%. I hate that they're all still here. I was going to say that this game, like Skip, I don't think he's done anything wrong, but he just worries me that he doesn't offer you enough. And I think even at League One level, if I was an opposition manager, I'd just be like, goalkeeper, just knock it into that area of the pitch and let's just bully him and get the ball off him and win the second ball. That worries me for this season, actually, Luke, because that's still the weakness of the team. Like I said, the physicality. If you were going to play against Leicester, that's how I would play against them. Just like pick on the small players and just keep aiming long balls into those areas. You got Luke Thomas in this team. You got Braybrook in the team. You got Skip in this team. A bunch of midgets.
Midgets FC. I don't. I don't understand. What was it? The Canaries? Was it Norwich? Where was he at? Where he was part of the team in the season?
Yeah,
Oh,
Norwich when they got promoted. Yeah,
was he
had.
even
Do you know
there?
do you know what the difference is, Luke? Because he had hair then.
Oh, lost his aura. What?
I'm
Was
not
he even,
joking. It feels like as soon as he lost his hair, he's lost his technical ability. He's gone downhill.
Did you think that? Was he even decent that season, or was he just part of, like, I just cannot understand how he got to the level he's got. Like,
No,
I
he
don't
was.
think
He was young player of the season, and I do know that he even played a few games under Antonio Conte when he was at Spurs, and he had a run of games where he won man of the match. I think 2 games in a row for them. So there was something about him. Like he was quite highly hyped, but he did get quite a bad injury, I think, at Spurs as well, that left him out for 4 months.
This is a clear clutch chance. The best
Oh,
we've had.
again.
That was
and Mavadidi again, waste of oxygen.
That was the best created chance we had the entire game.
Yeah.
With
And
the
you just
options we
said
had
it
there.
yourself. If you've got an option at Leicester, the last option you should pick is to pass it to Stepi Mavadidi. He had a joke about it. Do you know that's another 2 jokes at this club, right? We replaced the number 9 shirt. We went from Vardy to Jordan Ayew. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say it how it is. It's a joke that the number 10 shirt went from James Maddison to Stepi Mavadidi.
God, I miss him.
Even if he was like half decent in his first season, it's just not on the same, you know.
I don't know how Skip got to the level he was at, though, but maybe he could do good for another championship side. I don't know, but he's never a Premier League player ever in a day in his life again. Mavadidi, man, fucking hell, dude, he has been absolutely awful. Look,
yeah, lose the ball again. No, it's funny with these young players, like, you know, can really be make or break. Like, you know, I don't even remember him, but Man United had Adnan Januzaj. And he was like another one that, like, in the academies, they thought he was going to be better than Giggs. And he's ended up not being good at all. There's so many players who, young level. Dele Alli, I look at what happened to him.
Yeah, tragic that. That's one of the biggest drop-offs I think I've ever seen.
Oh, Conches, how you doing, mate? I was hoping you'd show up. Pre-season hype is over, it seems. Let me just tell you, I never bought a pre-season hype. But I'll actually say this, Conches. Man, yeah, you go. I would actually say, first half, I think Leicester were pretty good, to be honest. I think second half, less so. But given that we're playing a team based in Serie A, still think we've been relatively okay. Like, this game shouldn't have finished 1-0 to them. We should have won this game. We had other people taking our chances. So I'll be interested in what you think of it. I mean, there you go. The game's over. So it's finished 1-0 to Genoa. It ends with a defeat. But the results, in my opinion, are secondary to performances. So over the 90 minutes, talk to me, Luke. What did you make of Leicester City 0, Genoa 1?
I think there was times, in particularly in that first half, where obviously the patterns of play you could see were there. They were nice. The intricate passing was good. There was a little bit of playing at the back as well in certain aspects of that first half. The only thing I guess you could argue that we need to see is if we're going to play this Russell Martin form of football of basically walking the ball in the back of the fucking net, you need someone that's going to be able to put that ball away and bury it with conviction. And I unfortunately did not see that whole 90 minutes. And I think that's going to be the argument of the happy clappers why they hate Russell Martin, which I can appreciate, but I would rather have a lot more of the ball like that and see beautiful patterns of play than constantly turning the ball over, looking honking, and constantly panicking and have to defend for your life. So that's just my opinion of what I like in football. That doesn't mean it's right, and that doesn't mean possession wins football. But look, this is only pre-season. This is against opposition that's arguably much higher standard than League One of opposition that we're going to face. So for me, it's a positive performance.
Man, that was really well said. Great summary. So what can I add to that? I would agree. I think that patterns of play were there. You're right. We're trying to walk the ball into the back of the net. We almost did it, though, a few times. It will frustrate some fans for sure. Will it work in League One? We'll have to wait and see. But given that he's not been at the club for a long time, patterns of play were quite promising. We were the better team in this match. Result for me is irrelevant. I think it is fair to say that after 60 minutes, we faded a lot. I think to be even fairer than that, Ben Nelson getting injured and having to change the shape of the team affected us. So it's okay. I think that given that we're missing a lot of players today as well. No Will Alves, he would have been in that team. No Connor Chaplin, I'm sure he would have played a part. No Wout Faes or Harry Souttar. I mean, to be honest, maybe they should both be gone anyway, so maybe that's not so much of a problem. Christian McFarlane to play at left back, perhaps. Tommy Watson there coming on the wing. Yeah, I actually think it was quite a good performance. I was actually be a lot more encouraged, even if we sound quite negative. I think that was actually a pretty good performance against good quality opposition. I think going into the season, the worry's got to be, as Luke just said there, the lack of an out-and-out front man. Do you know what? Pep proved you can win stuff without having an out-and-out number 9. But the issue is that looking at that team, I don't see attacking threat at all. Really, that's the more worrying thing, right? It's not even like Mavididi never looked like scoring in a month of Sundays. Liam Cullen, let's talk about him. I think it was a pretty reasonable debut. Linked the play very well, got involved in the game, but his end product, or the lack thereof, is quite concerning for me for a team that was already shy of goals. Let's cover that point first. We come back to the rest of it. So let's talk about debut man Liam Cullen. What did you make of him, Luke?
So, yeah, I can appreciate that. I'll give him a bit of benefit of the doubt. You know, this is his brand new team, slotted straight in after signing him. There was a moment in that game where he took a brilliant first touch, turned the ball around, laid it off. He looked excellent, but that shot on goal that you're probably referring to earlier, where it went wide of the post, was pretty honking. But it's pre-season. I guess everyone's allowed one. He could work in League One. I could see him working 100%.
Will he score, though, Luke? How many goals do you think a player like that scores in League One? Because I see him getting 10, but we need more than that. Like if we're gonna win this division or get automatically promoted, how many goals are you gonna need? I'm gonna bring it up now, but I'm guessing you're gonna need 70 to 80 goals. So who's getting those goals for us?
That's the scary thing for me right now. So obviously, granted, I'm very limited minutes I've just seen of Cullen. I would hope that like maybe he could be a player that like maybe sees 6 to 7 goals, but 10 to 15 assists. Just granted off that first touch took earlier. Needs to be like Andy King in League One. I don't know where those goals are coming from just yet, though. We do need an out-and-out striker, and I think Mavididi is redundant after the way he just played. I don't want to go all over the place, but like in terms of firepower, yeah. So we need it to come from somewhere because there's a lot of football to play.
Yeah. Depends on where he plays. That's Liam Cullen. If he's in that 8 role today, I think he'll be more of a creator, but then who's scoring those chances? So I'm looking at here. Last season, Lincoln, they were top. They scored 89 goals. And Cardiff, who finished second, they had 90 goals. So you need to have 90 goals over 46 game seasons. You've got to score basically 2 goals a game. So that's my worries. I look at that team, Luke, and I just don't see where they're coming from. I think the irony is that the style of play and the patterns of play, we actually are creating the chances, but we just haven't got the players to finish them. That's the frustrating thing. I imagine Jamie Vardy in a team like that, he would have bagged a lot, right? Probably even Dewsbury Hall or something like that. But I look at who is supported, like Bobby Reed, no. Although I do see him getting double figures this season if he was to play. But again, maybe 10 or something like that.
I don't see that from Bobby. I really don't. I really don't see double figures from him.
If he played every single game, the reason I say that, Luke, is that I think even last year he did score like 4 or 5. Like I think he should be long gone. You know, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's like I say, I don't buy into this experience and professionalism. For me, I just don't think he's been another poor signing that should never have been made, and we should have trusted the youngsters. But I wouldn't go so harsh as saying he's the IU of League One. I think he's better than IU. But yeah, my point is I still don't think he's prolific enough. He's not like one of those players that can absolutely cook at an older age that some people can do. So yeah, I'm looking at that front 5. You've got Bobby Reed, Liam Cullen, Sammy Braybrook was joining the attack, Woyo Koulibaly, Steffi Mavididi. No chance, mate. And okay, you can say that's not going to be the dynamic, which is fair enough. So now let's think about Will Alves, Tommy Watson. You know what I mean? I don't see where these goals are coming from. And this is why, if you had to ask me right now, I'd say playoffs, not automatics. And I think, yeah, because I don't see when we do this. Yeah, we said here, can we go and get Ballard and Pepper? Like Ballard for sure. Like I say, he's proven he would be. I mean, I think they want 6 or 7 million from him. I'd argue he's worth it, but you know they're going to Kaplan and Chullin's going to be the 10s. It looks like that, doesn't it? But I think we're rotating. We're going to have 2 players for every position. But I've rambled a lot there. So throwing the question back to you and to everyone in chat. How are we going to and those who say Chaplin should bag us double figures, I agree. And he scored 21 goals the last time he was in League One. But like I say, 90 goals. So that means that we're going to have it could be like the Enzo season where you get 5 or 6 players who get double figures. Maybe that will be the way, but that's what worries me, Luke. Like I said, I think we've got a decent. I can see it working other than scoring goals. And if it was to go badly this season, I can see every game we play the game. You look at it in isolation, you think we dominated the game, we controlled possession, we actually made a lot of chances, but we didn't take them, and we either dropped points or lost the game as a result.
I think the only players that I've seen that are not basically looking for as I mentioned, to walk the ball in the back of that, have the conviction or the confidence to either shoot a distance, really, from what I've seen in preseason, has actually just been Carr and Will Alves. Will Alves is one of the midfielders I'm expecting personally to see double figures if he can stay injury free. It's players like him that I'm hoping to enjoy tonight. Thank you. Always great to see Luke back in here. Neil dropped the C-bomb. Well, thank you. Shout out to Steve Dozzy, mate. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, cheers, Steve.
I think I'm concerned as well, but again, we've only seen preseason, so basically we're banking off that the patterns of play are going to start seeing us with a end product at the end of maybe 6 or 7 games of the season, where players start filling those positions naturally. We start seeing more box crashing. We're hoping we can break teams down and make them gas. However, we just gassed after 60, 70 minutes, so we're going to need heavy rotations at this point because we don't look, 90-minute match fit yet. And
to be fair though, Luke, right? In a regular game, he could have made 5 substitutions at the minute 60. And I think Russell Martin would have done that. Not necessarily all 5, but if he wasn't trying to get match fitness, he would have done that, right? So I think, for me, the game fading out after 60 minutes, I'm not too bothered. It's pre-season friendly. Like I say, I would still be more looking at can I see the style of play that we're trying to play? Because we never saw that at all under some managers. And can I see the vision as to where this is going? And I would say that I can, Buzz Will here saying end product will come. So I can see that vision. I could see how this team could be really good. But I still feel it's not even to the detriment of the manager here. I'm actually thinking the way that the team is coached is quite good. I'm saying that how we're set up, I feel he hasn't been backed enough to really make that system cook. So absolutely, we need a striker, but I actually think even from wide areas as well, those wide men, look how many goals Stepi Mavadidi, Fatawu, even Casey McAteer got for us that season as well, is you need to have more end product from them. The 8s as well, although I do see Connor Chaplin and Cullen there. I can see them getting double figures, to be honest with you. Let's talk about the rest of the division as well. Don't count out Oxford United, Reading, Luton Town, and Dark Horse AFC Wimbledon. Let me tell you, I don't count out any of the division. I'm pretty terrified. I think I've got to say that one thing we've got to be careful of is that I think a lot of our fans think that we've already hit rock bottom and it can't get any worse. And as that Mick McCarthy legendary quote goes, it could easily get worse. I do think at least, though, that we have made some encouraging signings. And looking at the way that we've been coached, let me ask you this, Luke. Compared to where we were last pre-season, I know we're in a different division, but do you think the team looks better this season or last season? Because you'll remember we beat Fiorentina in that last pre-season friendly, but I'm talking about all of the friendlies as a whole. Who do you think was better? Because I'll just say for me, I actually think we look better this season than we did last season. It doesn't mean anything. Right, it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day, but I am still saying that from a purely coaching point of view and stuff like that, I see, and that's perhaps not surprising because you got to remember that Cifuentes joined the club a lot later than Russell Martin.
I think that this one's better, not just because of the patterns of play and the I think one was a lot more cohesiveness. There was obviously a lot more better talents and obviously better players in that last preseason, but for me, it already looked like a lot of those people didn't want to be there. The team wasn't gelling, in my opinion. Still, there was moments of brilliance, but I know that Fiorentina game, but look, we all know the season Fiorentina went on to have. But for me, I think this is much better. The cohesiveness is there, and it looks like we have a bunch of players that actually want to play for each other and want to be here and want to prove their point. That's the only lining at the end of the tunnel for me with this in League One. You're 100% right. This could not be rock bottom yet, but for me, delight for me is look, there's all these young lads that could go on to have a really good. They're going to get a lot of football, basically.
Yeah. Look, Chappers, totally agree with you, mate. Don Ballard, he would be my number one priority as well. Try and get him done. even if he costs 6 million or something like that. I don't know if we can afford him, but 3.5 million was paid for Richard Kone last year from League One, and he stepped up to the Championship. I thought looked pretty good, in my opinion, from what I've seen from Don Ballard. I think he'll be good in the Championship as well, so that's why I would make the signing. We have to see. Abdul Malik, I've heard about this guy, the guy that plays for Boreham Wood. Hard to say if you could make the step up, but could be a tasty one. But I do think the fact that we've signed a left winger now with Tommy Watson, probably unlikely to do this. Will Alves, I think is injured. He didn't seem to play a part in either of the games, it looks like. Same with Connor Chaplin, so maybe give him a bit of a rest. We look 100% fitter going into the season than under Andy King and Marty last season. I'd agree with that. Do you think that's a fair statement, Luke?
No.
You don't? You don't think we look fit?
Not yet, no. But then again, you mentioned that we didn't make many subs, and it's only pre-season.
Two weeks to go, remember, as well. So, yeah.
Exactly. And everyone was saying, I thought last season, the narrative was that everyone was like playing so much better under Andy King before Marty Cifuentes came, and everyone looked fit and we were playing fast. So I don't agree with that, sorry.
That's fair. Do you know what? What I think he's saying here, because I agree with him, but I think you're right. We don't look fitter. But what I will say, which answers the question, is because the pressing traps are more effective. That's what I think the answer is. So if you look at it, we're winning the ball back more effectively than we did under either Andy King or Marty Cifuentes. And that's because the press is more cohesive. Like, actually, again, if you look at the World Cup, it's quite funny because apparently I've heard like a few of the Premier League managers were looking at the World Cup and they asked them what they thought and they were laughing. They're saying, all I see at the World Cup is some terrible pressing from some teams and it's resulting in some comical goals. And Spain are the only team that can do a cohesive press. Last season, King said he's the fittest we've ever seen in the Leicester side. So that's things. There's fitness, but then is how is that fitness translating onto the pitch? So I think that we're better at winning the ball back because I think the pressing is more cohesive. But you can't say we're not as fit as last year because we're still 2 weeks ago. What do you make of that?
I think the cohesiveness is much better. It's also, I think, that second half as well, to be fair. Like, they changed a lot of players and they turned up the press big time. So maybe that's why we looked a lot more gas in that second half, because we had a bunch of people pushing to get 90 minutes in their legs compared to a different 11. So maybe I'm bang out of order for saying that. Also, question here, sorry, I just want to put up. Next week, we treat like a preseason game, in my opinion. Why do you say that, Joe? I don't understand that. Not that I'm coming for you, brother. I'm just curious why you say that. What do you think, Anil?
Yeah, so actually, here's the interesting thing, right? So our first league game is on the 15th of August, but our first game, this is quite hard to get your head around. So our first competitive game this season is next week. It is next Saturday. It's in the EFL Cup and it's against Northampton Town. So it is a competitive game. So that's what he's saying, you know. I actually didn't know that coming in. I assumed that, but I've forgotten. That's because in every previous season, Luke, because we haven't been in League One, we haven't played in the EFL Cup in round one. We've always come in at either round 2 or round 3 or even round 4 if you're in Europe. But that just shows you how the mighty have fallen. That now our first game this season isn't even a league game. So I think Joe is right, because I think that realistically you're not going to expect to get too far in the cup this season. The priority is just to get out of the division. I think we'll still win the game, but I think you're right that it won't really be. I think like if we lost it, it wouldn't be a disaster, put it that way, because who really cares? You just want to get minutes and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like if we were, I don't think it'll go too experimental, put it that way. What do you think?
What's the cup game in terms of experimentation? Yeah. I think regardless, everything's going to be a bit of experiment for the first 4 to 6 weeks anyway. Would you not agree? Argue just trying to find out, settle at 11.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I would play whatever the team's going to be for the following week and try and win it. But I think it should still be competitive. We'll have to see. Yeah, last season League One started on the 1st of August, and it would have done this year as well. It's just because the World Cup, there's been a slight delay. Yeah, ditch the cups this season. Concentrate on the league, of course. Yeah, you mentioned here Ariban Peppel for Plymouth Argyle is another player that could be brought in. Don't know too much about him. Scored 16 goals in League One last year. Fair enough. I mean, how old is he? Let's have a look here. I think that's the promising thing with Ballard, right? Is that he's a young guy. I think he's like 22 years old, so good age to kind of do that. Keith says, I'm a bit annoyed to have paid to watch half a team and not being told that the better players are in a closed door game. Be nice to see you win with the best team. That's totally fair. I mean, look, I'll say this right now. I haven't paid any money to watch the club this season. I haven't got the membership this year either. I think the club completely rips off his fans. And again, there's no communication, which is obviously my biggest thing there. Like, it would be fair if they're going to charge you to at least give you a premium experience there. But it's King Power rip-off. Sorry, I got to say it how it is. I think the way the club treats its fans is despicable. I've got to call it how it is.
That is fair, to be honest. I don't know why they didn't show that game. They should have given that to you. What annoys me most about that as well is like there's no replay value. So if you pay 40, so it's 25 quid, but it's 50 Australian dollars. If I'm paying that for a month, that's like 4 or 5 times higher than fucking Netflix. And I could watch whatever I want of a wide range. I can't even replay it. I have to watch it live or too bad.
Exactly. Or why not allow you to watch both the games that were on today? Rip-off merchants, aren't they? So anyway, let's move off that. So I'm going to kind of start closing out the show, but let's just get from your mind, Luke. So that was actually the final proper. They might play another friendly behind closed doors, but that was the curtain closer coming into the season. So, this is normally the most optimistic you will be as a fan for the season, unless you obviously go on a good run. They normally just kind of do this debate. So I'll ask everyone in chat as well right now. So I'll ask you 2 things. What's your feeling for the season? And give me a league position just based on now. I appreciate it could change. Transfer window's not closed. Where you think we'll finish based on what you've seen today?
After what I've seen today in this preseason, how do I feel? I feel a lot more optimistic. I've got a bunch of young, talented players coming from my academy that could start to show dividends. They're going to get the chance to do it with a lot of football in League One rather than maybe a sporadic appearances and loan elsewhere. So either they go on to be really well for us, or they stay in the team, or we can sell them to make a profit. Where do I think we're going to finish from what I've seen? I'm going to say 3rd.
Oh, wow. I've convinced you to come out of the autos. Okay, interesting.
Yes. So
you've been anilled.
I've been anilled. I don't think it would be first. Before I was kind of sitting 2nd, 3rd. I think we're going to have moments where we're going to really dominate, and maybe either we get off to a little bit of a slow start, but in my opinion, what's probably more than likely is that we'll start off possibly strong. We'll have a bit of a lull, kind of similar to the Enzo, where we're not scoring, but we're dominating the ball, and teams around us start picking up points, maybe put a bit of pressure on ourselves. I can 100% still see us going up through even just playoffs. But yeah, for me, 2nd, 3rd, I'm going to stick with 3rd.
Steve says Russell Martin out. Keith is still very optimistic. Amy is nervous, maybe 3rd. So for me, I mean, based on what I've seen so far, I will say that I'm quite impressed with what I've seen this preseason. I think the coaching is quite good. And given how much of a mess the club is in, I was not expecting to see the team look as cohesive as it did. So I do think that is actually got to give credit where it's due, whether you like him or not. I think that is testament to the coach. Like I said to you before, like under Enzo, how 2 weeks in, I was like, this guy's an elite coach. He's going to the top. I wouldn't say that Russell Martin, but I still see from here that this is a good coach. And in my opinion, a better coach than Marty, better coach than Gary Rowett, a better coach than Steve Cooper, I'll even say. Right? I mean, that's not much to say, but I'm just saying how it is. That's quite good. Despite that, as of right now, just because of what's happened to the club over the last few seasons, and I feel so negative, I'd probably say 5th right now. So that's still playoffs. That might come across as overly negative, but I mean, we've got no striker. I don't still really know enough about these players. It does encourage me to see players like Braybrook bossing the game against a Serie A team. That's impressive. But I've never seen him in the English game against another English team, and I don't know if he can do that against them or not. I have seen Ollie skip in the English game. He's not for me, to be honest with you. I think he struggled in the Championship. He struggled today. Will he be too good for the League One opposition? Maybe. But even in games that we played against League One, I don't think or in the cups and stuff like that, he just never looked that impressive. So that's my problem, Luke, is that I don't really know enough about the level of League One. Maybe we are still just going to be way too good for what we've got. I know we played Burton before, and we did really well against them, but they're more towards the bottom of the table. I can't really say. But if I just look at the team, like Jakub Stolarczyk, average at best. Luke Thomas, the less said, the better. Caleb Okoli, he might be good for League One, but never convinced me. Same with Ben Nelson. Jaden Joseph, to be fair, he looked very good, but I don't know. Again, he's never really played at the top level, so I can't. That's the problem. Is that all this entire team really? The only ones you could say, to be fair, I'd say Liam Cullen today looked pretty good. He looked to me like he would be one of the better players in League One. And I have seen him play, and I have seen him playing against example positions. Even though I don't think he'd be too good in the Championship, I think at this level he'd probably be pretty good. Same with Connor Chaplin. So I can't really say. It could all click together. We could absolutely blitz a league and be unstoppable. I could see that happening. So if I am coming across negative, I could still see something like that happening. But just based on what I've seen so far, I'm still quite cautious. And I think we still need to do quite a bit more work in the window, both in and out. And yeah, I'm just, it's the negative sentiment. Like I said, I think you're right there, Luke. If we get off to a good start, I think that will help us a lot. And, remember under Enzo as well, after the shock of the relegation, going on such a good run right from the off really helped the club. Whereas last year, having that really bad start hit us a lot. C says we were winning the set. So that's Virtue Trophy, EFL Trophy, Cup and the league. Boss up first and Locks Martin is eating the chili. Steve, tell us what you thought about that from the game. You can write your comments in there. Let's get this thing. Do you think we'll start all the players we need to sell in the first few games just to get off to a good start? Or Martin go with the team that is likely to be there after the window ends? That's a great question. What do you think to that? Do you think we'll start all the players we need to sell in the first few games? Or will we go with the team that Russell Martin wants?
I would imagine Russell Martin's going to go with the team that he wants. I think you can kind of see certain patterns in the games we've played of teams, definitely going to be started, like players that are going to be starting. I think the most nailed on one is, as mentioned before, is Braybrook. I don't think FaZe will start. I could see maybe Sutar starting, but I don't think FaZe. I think FaZe will be gone. What do you think of this? So, you asked me to wrap up the season, the preseason games. For me, of all the young players that I've seen, this is no shade on Lorenz Hutchinson. He looks the least ready. If he's not going to get regular minutes, I want him to get like a League Two loan. There's obviously a real player in there, like a highly rated from the youth academy. But if I'm putting him up against Evans, JJ, all these young players, I think he's looked the least ready. He's not been bad by all means, but for me, I think he's the least
raw. The most raw. You see that, but
yeah,
look at yeah. From Steve, the Steve says we controlled the first half, looked by far the better side. Second half, we seem to fall off a little bit, but overall, I'm impressed. We do need a striker. And I think that's a superb summary of the match. I'd pretty much agree with that. I think the turning point was Ben Nelson getting injured, caused a change of team shape. We never looked really quite as good after that. And we ran out of, I wouldn't say ran out of ideas. We ran out of steam in the second half. We didn't make changes. We were clearly trying to get fitness back. But yeah, I think if you had to judge the first half against the top team, we were playing a lot of their good players. That was pretty impressive. But we never scored. So, it didn't help that our best chance, Bobby Reed cleared it for the opposition. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've just seen this as well. This has just come in. I've read today that Martin wants Franco Ravizzuoli, a goalkeeper that he played with, probably good with his feet. That really wouldn't surprise me because we saw Jakob last year. Is he really good enough to play a high possession style? We have to sort of see. And Neil agrees with you there with Lorenz there. Just to wrap up the show then, how about that then? So that is something that we talked about. Do you think we need a new goalkeeper or not?
I do.
Wow. Even at League One level?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm solid
Ruthless
now.
Type.
Yeah, I am. I don't think... look, I wouldn't say like Stellacic had any terrifying moments today, but to be honest with you, I think I've seen all I needed to see last season. I think for his own confidence, he needs to move. But yeah, he's just... I tried to be diplomatic with him on the ball. I thought, there was moments he wasn't too bad under Enzo. No. He was abhorrent last season. For me, the lad that played last week, I slated us for signing an older player like that, but he looked really good, made a lot of good saves. Is it McCarthy, is it?
Yeah, Alex
McCarthy. Yeah. For me, McCarthy's already in front of Stellacic, and if I'm saying that at League One, then I think that basically answers your question.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all in agreement. We need a striker. Yeah. We absolutely need a striker now. But this is a good question. What style of striker do we need? That's a good one for you. Well, you answer it first. I think we need to sign two strikers, by the way. But if we had to sign what type of profile do we need for a striker?
A physical one that also has a little bit of pace if you're lucky. Obviously, a striker is the most expensive position probably to be in the market for, but that's why I think Ballard for me is someone that I'd be going in for. But yeah, we definitely need someone physical. If you're going to be dropping deep, you're going to be able to have to hold up the play. You're going to have to be able to have that physicality. What do you think?
One that scores goals. That's the obvious one.
Yeah.
I would say obviously look, in a dream scenario, you get a player that can do everything like Haaland can, right? You're not going to get that at our level. So I would definitely go for one physical one, although that's not necessarily the one that I would start with. But absolutely, I would want to see someone who's like 6'4", really strong, physically dominant, and worst case scenario, it gives you a long ball outlet. You can put a cross into him and he can score a header. At League One level, you've got to have at least one striker who is good at doing that. So minimum, I'd get someone like that. The other type, though, I would go for someone who's like a fox in the box. They don't necessarily have to be the most physical, but they have to be like a brilliant finisher. So to be honest with you, quite similar to Jamie Vardy, a bit fast as well to get in behind. But I'm talking about more if you're going to be playing against deep blocks a lot. I just want someone who, like, if they get the ball, you're confident that player is going to score. Like, to be honest with you, I mentioned Van Nistelrooy for Man United a long time ago. I don't think Van Nistelrooy, I don't ever remember him scoring a goal outside the box. But if he had the ball in the box, he's going to score. So someone like that, because I felt like we were making chances, but you just didn't have that player that, like, if I give the ball to him, I know that I can turn around and walk back to the halfway line because he scored a goal. So, like, yeah, a proper predator. Obviously, if you could get a player who could do both of those things, great. But how I would see it is you start off probably in the game with that fox in the box because you're going to have a lot of possessions. You want someone to do it. And then last 20 minutes, if that hasn't worked out, then you can put the big man up. Or you could even put the two of them together because then the big man can, actually win the ball for the secondary player to kind of score. So I would go for someone like that. Because, yeah, what I would say, for example, the worry, well, to be fair, Liam Cullen was playing as an 8, not as a striker. But do you know how, like, last year as well, a lot of the time, Jordan Ayew was never even in the box. That was the big problem, right? It's all well and good being a false 9, but if you're not going to then make the runs in to get into the box when it's your time to score, you're never going to score. So what I want to see, like I say, is someone who, like, plays on the shoulder of the last man and wants to get into that box as often as possible and wants to score the goals. They're coming into the club because they believe they're going to be League One's top scorer this season. That's how I would sort of say. Vardy is still a free agent. That's kind of a funny one there. But anything else you want to add, Luke, before we head off? Got anything else to say? It was a pleasure joining you today, I've got to say, as always.
Pleasure to join you too, sir. I'm starting to run on fumes here. It's 10 to 5 in the morning. I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm turning half retarded now. Just to round it up, just what I mentioned earlier, when you're getting a drink, Gorminator put up a different comment. It was a good one. He said, how much do you think we're going to see people get fouled, particularly when we lose the ball in transition with a high line? There was a moment earlier, I think it was actually Jaden Joseph that brought his man down. So I definitely do expect to see that a lot this season. We're going to be dependent on that if we've got someone close enough to bring the man down and take that tactical foul for the team. Happy the preseason, Anil. Happy to see the likes of Jaden Joseph, start to emerge as talent from the academy. Decent patterns of football. Let's hope that we're not going to be splinters up our arsehole of how we're going to do later in the season. So, yeah, that's it for me.
Well, that's it from you. Will I see you for the next watch along? First competitive game next week against Northampton Town?
We will be there, sir.
We'll be there. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone in chat. This has been Blue Tinted Glasses. Thanks for joining us today. We'll have the Good Morning Foxes tomorrow with all the guys that went to the games. That should be a good one to hear. Until then, take care, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.